Bam. Bam. My peoples. My peoples. What did I tell you yesterday? I said Tank Davis is not retired. I'm not going to see it that way until he or someone from his team announces a retirement. I will not say or accept that the fight between Tank and Lamont Roach is canceled until he or someone in his team announces that the fight is canceled. So yes, you're going to question it. I'm still questioning whether or not it's going to happen next month because a card hasn't been announced. I don't think I don't think a lot of information has been given out. We haven't seen no press conferences, face-offs. It doesn't look like it's even being promoted for it to take place next month because Tank Davis he's a big star. But to bring it all in together, Tank Davis yesterday tweeted or posted, I don't know, that it's cap, that the stuff about retirement, that's a lie. Tank Davis not retiring. In fact, he said it's Manny Pacquiao or 140. My goodness. They really gonna understand why Jay Smith is Jay Stradamus. They really, today y'all gonna understand why Jay Smith is Jay Stradamus. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anyways, my people, y'all already know what it is, man. This is Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning, man. It's gonna be on today. It's gonna be on already for the smoke. I am Red Deep. Angry Mexican. Good morning, Jay Smith. Angry Mexican. Salute, my brother. So, by now, you've probably seen the news. Tank Davis said he's not retiring. And I'm about to show y'all this morning why I'm Jay Stradamus. I be trying to tell people, bro. Angry Mexican. I have been working early morning, so been missing you. Ah, shit, man, but here we go. Here we go, my brother. And today's gonna be a good one. We're gonna be talking that Tank Davis shit because if you recall, the whole news about Tank Davis, he's retiring, he's done. That was all over the place. Angry Mexican, I wonder where Rick Glazer got that info. That's what I wanted to get into. That's exactly what I wanted to get into. And you know what? I'm even gonna look for the clip where I was talking about that yesterday. I said that just because somebody from the inner circle gave you some information doesn't mean that information is going to be accurate. There's a million reasons why that information could be false. Number one, they could simply be doing it to make you spread some shit that'll go viral. And everybody's talking about Tank. What happened yesterday? Everybody was talking about Tank. You don't know. It literally could be that. As a matter of fact, Tank could even say something around his team to see if it's gonna leak. To see if he got somebody leaking shit. That can happen. Like, just because somebody says, yo, a close source within the team is saying that Tank is saying this, that's hearsay. Somebody said that somebody's saying. Like, come on. How, just, it's like I said, that's why sometimes in boxing, news comes out and it turns out to be false. That's it. You look at it, you're like, oh my God, look what happened. And then it turns out to be false. It doesn't mean that the person who put it out is lying. That's not always the case. It's just that that's the information they got, they put it out. Ooh, Angry Mexican on a Thirsty Thursday with the super chat vibes for Jay Smith. Yo, you know what it is, my G. You know the saying. That's not going to make you poorer. It ain't going to make me richer. But they say you appreciate what I'm doing out here this morning. Salute, my brother. Angry Mexican says Jay Smith the GOAT. They going to learn. They going to learn, my G. I promise you. But let me point something out, Angry Mexican. Did you catch yesterday's show? What I said about Tank Davis' weight? Look how interesting it is. And this is going to be another receipt that I'm Jay Stradamus, bro. This is another receipt where people are going to say, yeah, he's Jay Stradamus. We understand it now. I'm going to show you. Watch this. Yesterday I said, if Tank Davis was to retire, hold on one second. So I'm showing you, my people, right? Why I'm Jay Stradamus. Yesterday I said, if Tank Davis retires, please keep this in mind. It's going to be because he cannot make 130 anymore. That's it. So he's either going to have to struggle a lot to make 130. And now you're getting, in that field where you could take a loss because you're struggling so much with making weight. Or he's going to have to move up to 140 to actually be able to make weight. That's why he's retiring. If he don't want to go to 140, he can't keep making 135 anymore. It's a wrap. And people was telling me, you crazy. Tank making 135 comfortably. He making it. He don't need to move up. And look what he said. He's going to fight Manny Pacquiao next or move up to 140. I'm Jay Stradamus. See? I told you he can't keep making 135 anymore. Now, how did I come to the conclusion that Tank Davis cannot keep making 135? My peoples, you think about it. He was making 135. He fought Mario Barrios 5 years ago at 140. Let that sizzle in your spirit. And then he went back down to 135. Cool. But he was 25 years old, my people. And right now he's 30. So just think about your own body when you was 25 and when you was 30, if you already reached that age. You have a different body. So you can make the weight, but now your frame is different at 30 than what it was at 25. So it's a lot harder for you to make that weight. And people was telling me, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do, and you see it right here. I told you, Tank Davis is not going to be able to keep clinging on to the 135 division. And I was like, if he goes, it's because he don't want to go to 140. Boom, he announced it. Not an official announcement, but he said it. Manny Pacquiao next or 140. The whole Jake Paul thing, we don't know what's going to happen with that. Maybe he takes the fight at the end of the year. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Angry Mexican. Pacquiao fight is exactly something Tank would do. Yeah, of course. I mean, think about it. They won a Lomachenko. With 1 foot out the door. Imagine 46-year-old Pacman who fought to a draw with Mario Barrios, the guy he stopped. Come on now. I tell you what, though. I don't think that Manny Pacquiao will fight Tank Davis next. I don't think he'll fight him, period. Maybe, look, there's two things that can happen. Maybe the competitive juices flow to where he says, oh, I want to try to beat him. But I think Manny Pacquiao, 46 years old, understands that he can't get in there with a guy like Tank and even have any expectations of beating him. He will get pummeled, battered. And I think he knows that. I would, if anything, I would expect Manny Pacquiao to pursue that fight with Floyd Mayweather, that rematch, which would make a lot more money than stepping in the ring with Tank Davis anyways. And he'll be in less danger, of course. So that's what I would rock. If I'm Manny Pacquiao, I would never step in there with no Tank Davis. And I think he knows better. I could be wrong. We'll see. Angry Mexican. I don't want Pacman to do that at all. Yeah, he don't got to do it. He'll make way more money with Floyd Mayweather and will probably not get knocked out. I think Tank Davis sleeps him badly. Angry Mexican. Pacman versus Floyd. maybe Pacman versus Adrian Broner, something like that. By the way, I seen Adrian Broner calling out Jake Paul. Yo, Adrian trying to get that bag, man. You trying to get that bag? I don't knock him for it. What I would like to see with AB is that he get like one big fight like that, like a Jake Paul or Floyd, something like that. Like get a huge bag and like that's it he good. Like let's say he get a business and get going, like financially just be good, man. I don't want to see AB struggling. Um, but the whole situation with Tank Davis retiring, is he retiring? Is he not? I think it's interesting to see how everybody grabs onto the news real fast because everybody want to be, not just everybody want to be the first to put it out there, because once you see it's out, so you make content about it. But I just had a feeling, man, like nah, I'm not gonna roll with this. I'm not gonna roll with this wave. I'm not rolling with it. Like I said, not seeing anything come from Tank or anyone in his team is not enough for me to just see what Rick Glazer, and I'm gonna tell you something. I got respect for Rick Glazer, but that type of information could easily be unreliable, even if, because I do believe he got that information from somebody. That's why he put it out there. It wasn't correct. So for me to tell you guys, yo, Tank Davis is retiring, he's telling that to his inner circle, I gotta have heard it either from him or somebody from his inner circle. And if somebody from his inner circle told me that, I'm gonna tell ya. And then what? People gonna say, yo, you was lying, bro. You was lying. You made that stuff up. Justine Tayar, hello, bro. Hey, what's up? Bam. So all I have to say, man, is that I'm glad Tank Davis is now retiring. Number one. I'm happy that we will see Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, which I have said that Lamont Roach is going to win that fight. Let's see. Let's see how the cookie crumbles. And also what's next? Is Tank going to fight Manny Pacquiao or move up to 140 division like he said? Angry Mexican. Rick is pretty entertaining, but it's not secret. It's no secret he hates PBC. Yeah, he's not a PBC fan, that's for sure. That's for sure. But, I don't think that he's just going to make stuff up out of thin air. I can tell you that. He got that. Somebody told him that. And it turned out to be false. And the thing is, my peoples, that Tank could actually be around his team saying stuff like that. Yo, I'm not boxing again. I'm done. I ain't going to box again. And just be messing around. And then somebody from the team leak a little bit of information. Yo, that's it. He telling anybody he done. Like there's a lot of ways that information could get out and be wrong. It's not necessarily that you made it up. And let me tell you something. I myself have gotten information before things happen. In some cases, they did happen, and in some cases, they did not. So, I've been lucky that I've tried to do my best with whatever. Normally, we just talking boxing, but if I'm sharing some information, if I think this is coming out, I'm careful with that. But again, the situation with Tank Davis retiring, that was breaking news. That was all over the place, and there's two pieces of information that was the main sources. Number one, Tim Bradley saying that Tank is not really in it, and he's probably just looking for the big bag, about to retire. And I told people yesterday that was Tim Bradley's opinion based on what he's seen. Doesn't actually mean that, hey, he's going to retire. No. That's just Tim Bradley's opinion. Let me grab my phone real quick. Let me grab my phone real quick, my peoples. So that was just Tim Bradley's opinion that Tank Davis was going to retire. He didn't say, I'm aware, I know, somebody told me. He gave his opinion. He don't look focused. He's looking to make the big bag and get out of here. That's it. That was not a confirmation of anything. And then the same thing with Rick Glazer. Somebody on his team or a source that is close told me that this is what he's saying around the team. That's it. So I didn't see anything yesterday to tell me, yeah, he's done. He's retired. I didn't see it. Me personally. That's what I told you guys. And I'm going to look for that clip and I'm going to post it today. I said, listen, my people, right now, in my opinion, Tank is not retired and the fight is going to happen. And as long as nobody on his team or himself announced a retirement or PBC announced that the fight is canceled between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, everything is going down as long as they don't say it's canceled themselves. Going down. Let's get it. Let's get it, my people. No, man. This is Box Center. This is a boxing channel. But if you want to come back and talk boxing, you're welcome. My peoples, come on. We have to understand. And it's what I was saying yesterday. Tank Davis is one of the biggest stars in boxing. There's people who consider Tank the face of boxing. You think he's going to just retire and that retirement is going to be announced by Tim Bradley, who thinks that he's out of there, and Rick Glazer, who heard from somebody in the team that Tank Davis might be gone? Nah. If Tank Davis is going to retire, we're going to hear it from Tank Davis. That's how we're going to know, yo, he's done. Tank Davis retired. But we're not going to, we know that's not the way that we're going to find out that Tank Davis retired by somebody giving us an opinion and someone giving us information that they heard from someone in the camp. Nah, my peoples. Tank Davis is, and with what he said that he's going to fight Manny Pacquiao or at 140 next. I'm excited about that. And it even makes me think, was he planning to fight Jake Paul and maybe saw the backlash that he's getting from it or how people are talking about that fight and calling it a circus show and all that stuff, and maybe he's backing away from that idea? Because if he's saying Manny Pacquiao or 140 division next, that means that he's not planning on retiring right now. What I would take from it, at least. So if he's going to fight at 140, who isn't going to be excited to see him in that division? Who isn't going to be excited? Gary Antoine Russell is one of the champions at 140. He's a PBC fighter. Let that sizzle in your spirit. Let that marinate. You imagine Tank Davis versus Gary Antoine Russell? Come on now. Come on, my peoples. Tank Davis versus Gary Antoine Russell at 140. 310. Man Ruth, Grand Rising. Salute, my brother. Bam. Appreciate you dropping in. So again, for those of you who just dropped in, the whole news about Tank Davis retiring, Tank Davis himself debunks it. He said he's not going anywhere. That's cap. And something interesting. If any of you was here yesterday, I questioned Tank Davis being able to make 135. I said, look, if Tank Davis retires, it's because number one, he can't keep making 135, and number two, he doesn't want to fight at 140. And what did Tank Davis say yesterday? He's either going to fight Manny Pacquiao next or move up to the 140 division. So I hope this morning, the people who was telling me yesterday that Tank is too small, that he's not going to 140, I hope y'all come through and holler at me. and say, yeah, you Jay Stradamus, for sure. You try to tell us, and we wasn't listening. Yo, chat, I try to tell people, I swear. I was like, bro, Tank Davis been clinging onto the 135 division since he was 24 years old. He fought Mario Barrios at 140 when he was like 25. That was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, Tank Davis was fighting at 140. And he went right back down to 135. And I keep asking people the same question. You yourself, if you're over 30 years old, look at yourself and tell me, when you was 25 years old, your frame, was it the same as it was when you was 30? Did you have the same body at 25 and at 30? The answer to that question is hell no. You could be in good shape. I'm not saying that you was in bad shape or anything like that. But your frame gets bigger. This is why I was telling you guys yesterday, yo, cutting that weight for Tank Davis and making the 135 division is tough. It's tough, my peoples. That was a real funny joke. Take another 30 minutes, think of a funnier joke, and come back with that one. Come on, my people. 5 years ago, where, think about the guys that are also in that division 5 years ago. Think about, for example, the young fighters, Shakur, Devin, Teal. Where were they 5 years ago as opposed to where they are right now? Shakur's 28. He's younger than Tank. And he's already moved up multiple divisions. Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney both moved up multiple times while Tank been clinging on to that 135 division. So all I'm telling you is that I knew that he could not keep making weight because his body was not going to allow him to do it. I mean, not that he cannot make it. Let me rephrase that. That he was going to struggle to make it a lot, consistently. And if you're always struggling to make weight, it's only a matter of time before you get to the fight real weak and you lose. And now it's not really going to be that you lost because you had somebody better than you in front of you. It's going to be because your body you couldn't get your body to 100% at 135 anymore. That's it. That's it. I knew it, my peoples. And yesterday when I said Tank Davis could not keep making 135, how many people try to tell me, nah, he a small dude. He a small dude. A lot of people fought their whole careers in the same division. Why he can't do it? Why he can't do it? I'm going to tell you why he can't do it. Because Tank be walking around in the 160s, babe. That's why he can't do it. Tank is a lot bigger than 135 by a lot. He don't walk around nowhere near that weight. If you tell me that Tank walk around like at 140, 145, I will tell you, oh, nah, he going to make 135 for the rest of his career. He could make 135 till he's 40 years old if he wants to. But that's not the case. Tank be walking around in the 160s and the 170s, big as hell. And then he shrink down to 135. My people, but y'all seen pictures of Tank Davis when he's outside of training camp? You act like you ain't seen him outside of training camp? We ain't seen like, come on now. The internet's flooded with Tank Davis pictures, him between training camps. Like he's not in a training camp. And we seen Tank Davis looking like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Whoa, MAW with the super chat vibes in the building. MAW, salute my brother, I appreciate you. Bam, you know my line. That paper's not gonna make you poorer. It's not gonna make me richer. But they say that you appreciate what I'm doing out here, my brother. I appreciate you. You know we do it for the sweet science. What MAW got to say to us? Hello, boxing fans, Jay and chat. Just my small contribution to the appreciation fund. Subscribe, share, and smash that like button. Please, folks. Ooh, you see what I'm saying? MAW, always showing love. Australia is in the building. I appreciate you, my guy. Bam. Check it. I don't know if you seen it yesterday, MAW, but all the news about retirement. Tank Davis is done. He's retired. I mean, that was before yesterday, and yesterday night, Tank Davis already debunks it. Says nope, that's all cap, not going anywhere. In fact, Manny Pacquiao is next, or I'll be moving to the 140 division. My brother, MAW. I don't think that you were here yesterday. Maybe you wasn't. I don't remember if you joined in yesterday. But let me put you on. Yesterday I said that that Tank Davis was not gonna be able to keep making 135. I said that if he retires, it's going to be because number one, he can't keep making 135 anymore, or number two, he doesn't want to fight in the 140 division. And what does he say yesterday? Well, Manny Pacquiao or 140. So what I said yesterday was confirmed. I didn't ask nobody. I don't have no inner source of anything or anything like that. I just came up with my own assessment. Tank Davis been in the 135 division since he was about 24 years old. Fought Mario Barrios at 140 when he was 25 years old. Nobody has the same body at 25 as they do when they're 30. We don't. Our body grows between, in those 5 years, our frame becomes bigger. So as the years pass, I'm sure 100%, and I said it yesterday, it's been tough for Tank Davis to make that 135. I'm not saying that he can't make it, but the more you struggle to make weight, the harder it is gonna be for you to be at 100% come fight night. And that's the one thing when you're fighting at the highest level, you don't want to get to fight night and be weak. You're about to get pummeled. But there you have it. I was right. Mad people yesterday telling me, nah, Jay, Tank Davis, he's small. He's gonna stay at 135. There's other fighters who stood at that division. And I told you, Tank Davis is not a small dude. He's not. MAW. So Tank versus Roach rematch off. Who Tank gonna fight if Pacman busy? Champ or tune-up? So let me clarify that, MAW. I misspoke. So it appears that the Lamont rematch is going down, but I just assumed that Tank is planning on winning the rematch and going after Manny Pacquiao next. I didn't think that when he says Manny Pacquiao next, he's bypassing Lamont Roach or 140. So let's see how this plays out, because I didn't see anything about the fight being canceled. So my assumption right now, I could be wrong. We're going to have to look into this one. But as of right now, my assumption is that Tank Davis and Lamont Roach is going down, and his plans is to either fight Manny Pacquiao or go to the 140 division right afterwards. Does he fight a tune-up at 140 or go straight for a title? I don't know. But I will say, 140 is hot right now. If Tank Davis didn't fight any of the big dogs in the 130 division, I think we're going to see him do it in the 140 division. Remember that I told you this, my people, right? We've been complaining about Tank not fighting this guy, not fighting that guy. We've been complaining about, well, I personally, let me speak for myself, I've been complaining about it. Cool. But here's what I want to say, my peoples. Okay, we didn't get a lot of the fights that we wanted from Tank Davis, right? At the 135 division, we didn't get them with Shakur, with Devin, with Tio. We didn't get those fights. Cool. But now that he's telling us that he's going to go to 140, a lot of the fights that we missed out on in the 135 division, we may still get them at 140. We could still get Tank versus Devin, Tank versus Shakur, Tank versus Tio, all of these fights that we think will never happen. Because me, I already gave up on a lot of those fights for Tank. But now that he's saying I'm going to 140, it gives me that hope that we can still get some of those. Aroma Sound, right after the fight, right after the first fight at the press conference, he said he wanted the rematch, but it wouldn't be the very next fight. He might have another fight first, then come back to the rematch. Nah, that's wrong, brother. Aroma Sound, that's wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. It doesn't work like that. Remember that they have a rematch clause. If we have a rematch clause, you cannot fight somebody else. You can't. That's not an option. It's in the contract that you're going to have to fight me next. Or retire. Or wait for the rematch clause to expire. Usually it takes up to a year. So if he don't want to fight Lamar Roach, he's going to have to wait a whole year to fight somebody else. He can't do it. He has to fight him. Has to fight. Look, I'll refer you back to when Floyd Mayweather had a rematch clause with Oscar De La Hoya. He actually won that fight by split decision. And there was a rematch clause. Floyd Mayweather retired for a whole year. And a year and a day after, I think, he came back from retirement. Came right back and boom, that's it. Like nothing happened. He didn't have to give Oscar De La Hoya a rematch. The rematch clause had expired. So this is what I think Aroma Sound is gonna happen. Tank Davis is gonna fight Lamar Roach. He's gonna try to get that rematch with Manny Pacquiao. I honestly don't believe it's gonna happen. I don't see Manny Pacquiao climbing in the ring with somebody like Tank Davis at his age. I think he knows how that fight plays out. I know how that fight plays out. I think we all know. So I don't see that fight happening. If anything, and I agree with that, I would expect Manny Pacquiao to get that fight with Floyd Mayweather. That's a rematch. It will be very much anticipated. And he'll make a lot more money fighting Floyd than he would fighting Pacman anyway. Than he would fighting Tank anyways. So why fight a guy who's potentially going to, dish out a brutal knockout upon thee when you can fight a rematch with Floyd, somebody who's 2 years older than yourself, and go the distance? Y'all can have a competitive back and forth, but it's not going to be the same situation, of course. That's my personal take, my peoples. My personal take. Manny Pacquiao, please, do not climb in the ring with Tank Davis. Please. We don't want to see you get battered out there. Battered, pummeled, and just, whoa, that would be quite brutal. Aroma Sound. Yeah, that fight with Floyd makes a lot more sense for Manny. MAW, fair point, Jay. And let me just say this, guys. With older fighters, because that's another reason why I agree with him taking that step. With older fighters, I don't like older fighters coming back. If you're in your 40s, especially late 40s, I don't like the idea of coming back. But it's all because of their health. I don't want a guy to take a shot and walk out of that ring punch drunk. Or we know what can happen in boxing. Boxing is the sport where we see the most deaths than any other combat sport. So I don't really like the idea of a guy coming back. But if he chooses to, then I'm going to respect him. I'm going to support him. That's where I'm at with it. Say, okay, let's see what you got. You believe in yourself. You trust in yourself. Let's see. Do your thing. Do your thing. And see how this plays out. Look at Manny Pacquiao. A lot of people were expecting him to get knocked out by Mario Barrios. We saw that. And he was competitive. Just the same day of the fight, I was telling people, yo, Manny Pacquiao is going to give Mario Barrios a good fight. We never know if we're going to watch him get old right in front of us. That can actually happen. And one day he'll get pummeled if he keeps fighting. Father Time is undefeated. We know that Father Time is undefeated, my peoples. But I said, with the skill set that Manny Pacquiao has and what I'm seeing him doing in training camp and in sparring videos, I feel like Manny Pacquiao was definitely gonna give Mario Barrios a good fight. He was gonna be the faster fighter in the ring, and we saw it. His speed gave Barrios some problems. Although I think most of us would agree that Barrios, he gave Pacquiao a little bit too much respect. I felt that way, and I saw other people who expressed the same sentiments. Now, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather is a fight that makes sense to me because they're both older. So if two fighters who are in their late 40s fight each other, I don't knock y'all. Y'all about the same age. Y'all can inflict about the same type of damage on each other. Ain't nobody gonna blow each other out of the water in your late 40s. If you're 55 years old and you want to box, I'm like, damn, nah, I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of a 55-year-old boxing. But if a 55-year-old is gonna fight another 55-year-old, I'm softening up to the idea now. Like, eh. That's all I'm saying. Keep them, if you're getting older, keep them around the same age. Look at me. I'm 47 years old. I mean, my bad, my peoples. I I'm saying I'm 47 now, but I made my pro debut when I was 44. Made my pro debut when I was 44. So you think about that. I made my pro debut at 44 years old versus a 35-year-old, and I saw the difference in strength right away. So I want to fight again. I'm telling you, my people, I'm dying to climb in the ring again. Especially I took a loss. I want to come back well, I wanted to avenge the loss. I couldn't get the rematch. It couldn't happen for whatever reason. But I want to fight again, my people. I want to climb in the ring and trade leather. Like, I can't tell you how, because as a fan, you're looking at wins, losses, who's the elite, who's the champion, who's the best. But me, as a 47-year-old fighter, as a 44-year-old fighter who climbed in the ring, I'm just enjoying the moment, what's happening. And and boxing, it's a beautiful thing to trade leather. Listen, that feeling that you get when you time somebody perfectly. Let me give you an example. Somebody shoot a right hand, and I happen to slip it, time it perfectly, slip it, boom, and catch it with a good body shot. Like that feeling of doing things and they work, damn, that's a good feeling, my people. And I'm gonna tell you something. That's the reason why you see a lot of fighters coming back. People don't realize this. That feeling of competing, of being in the ring, I promise you, if I was to find somebody within my age, I would sign the contract today to fight. If I was to find, I'm 47 years old, right? If I was to find somebody right now between 45 and 48 within that range, I would sign a contract and fight them right now. Right now, man, set the ring up right here, right now. Put these hands on you. I'm telling you. But I'm wise enough to understand. I love boxing, and I wish I could step in the ring and trade leather, man, because how much I enjoy it. But I'm not going to step in the ring with a 25-year-old to get pummeled. I'm not going out there to get battered. So why would 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao step in the ring with Tank Davis and get absolutely blown out? Nah. Go fight Floyd Mayweather. Y'all about the same age. Well, Floyd Mayweather's just 2 years older than you. I'm cool with that fight. Come on. Claymore Rain, boxing for breakfast. Let's build. Woo, Claymore Rain in the building. Salute, my G. Appreciate you dropping in. I was talking about the whole situation with Tank Davis, bro. And I was telling, and I think this is something that you can probably identify with, that just because news breaks and it turns out not to be accurate, it doesn't mean that someone didn't get it from a legit source, or that someone didn't actually get that information, or that they're making it up out of thin air. I've had people give me some information about something that was going to happen, and then it didn't happen. And I still remember there's been a couple of times where I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, let me hold on. And it didn't happen. And if I would have came out talking about all this stuff, then I would have, some people would have, you know how they do. They would have clinged on to, oh, you be capping, you be making stuff up just to get views and all this other stuff. So it's like, nah, sometimes stuff comes out and then boom, it blows up. So I'm not gonna knock Rick Glazer. I'm not gonna say, oh, he made it up out of thin air. He made up that Tank Davis is retiring to get, to get views or to get attention. Although that news was viral. Not only was it viral, Rick Glazer is the source, the guy who actually put it out there. And his source is supposedly a very close source. So I understand if people are going to question it. I respect it. Me, myself, I've spoken. I know Rick Glazer myself. I would say that I don't believe that he made that up. I would say that he got some information and it wasn't accurate. Tank Davis is not. Because that's the thing. You think about it. If I'm hanging out here with some friends and I'm telling people, yo, listen, I got, I'm doing this morning show, but I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it. I may be thinking about doing something in the afternoon or at night or once a week. Or that person could then tell somebody else. And that's my inner circle. And they could tell somebody else, yo, Jay say he's not going to be doing that morning live anymore. He done. He's going to do something else. And now that's everybody's talking about that. I said I'm going to. But that's just something that I said in between friends. What if I just said that just messing around and I'm actually not even thinking that way? But we heard it from the horse's mouth. As of right now, at least, Tank Davis is not retiring. As of right now. And I love the idea, my peoples. I love the idea of Tank Davis moving up to the 140 division. Yo, Claymore, what do you think about that? Oh, yo, Claymore, listen to this. Listen to this. What I said yesterday. I told people yesterday, I'm not sure if you were on when I said this, that Tank Davis, if he retires, is gonna be because number one, he can't make 135 anymore, or number two, the 140 division is a place where he doesn't want to go to. I said that yesterday. And there was people telling me, nah, Jay, look, Tank, he a very small guy, and he's probably gonna make 135 for the rest of his career. Other fighters have stuck around in the same division for their entire career. Well, guess what? What did Tank Davis say yesterday? Well, I'm gonna fight Manny Pacquiao or go up to 140 next. Just like I try to tell people, he cannot continue to make 135. I said it yesterday. Mikey Macreal, he running from Shakur and Roach. Now, I don't know, because what I took from what he said yesterday is that he's going to fight the rematch and then go after either Pacquiao or move up to 140s. So, as of right now, I haven't seen anything about that rematch being canceled. Although, running from Shakur, that may be accurate. That may be accurate. Ramirez, Smith, don't forget about me. You still owe me my debate. Whoa. Ramirez, whoa. When did Shakur say he can't make 135? I wasn't talking about Shakur. I was talking about Tank, my brother. I was talking about Tank Davis making 135. I told you guys yesterday, Tank Davis been making 135 since he was 25 years old. Think about your own body, your own frame when you was 25 and when you was 30, if you're already that age or older. Your body grows. Look at all the other fighters. Devin, Tio, Shakur. Look at their growth between 23 and 28 the last 5 years. All of them have moved up more than one division in some cases. While Tank Davis, that whole time, has been clinging on to 135. I said there was no way he could keep making that weight and feel good. Starving to make 135. Claymore Rain. Tank should take time to reflect. Tank needs to revisit his whys for the sport. We don't play boxing. If he can't dial in, tap out. I agree with you 100%. The sport of boxing It's not, you can't be halfway in, halfway out. You're either all in or all out. Because if you're halfway in, a fighter's gonna get you all out. So I agree with you 100%. Ramirez, y esa cosa mía. Where did Tank said that? I mean, Tank, sorry. Look it up. It's already up. He said that it was cap. Tank Davis said it's cap about him retiring and that he's either going to fight Manny Pacquiao or move up to 140. Maybe I could find it. He said it yesterday. I think it may have been on Twitter. Ramirez. Now you get it confused. Tank started at 126 and been doing 133 fight after. What am I confused about? I never said anything about where Tank started. I never said anything about where Tank started. I said 5 years ago, Tank was already at 135. 5 years ago. Bro, he fought Mario Barrios in 2020, 2021? 4 or 5 years ago, when Tank Davis was 25, he fought at 140. Let that sizzle in your spirit, Ramirez, because you're clearly on denial. From 25 years old, fighting at 135, to now 30 years old, still fighting at 135. I knew he wasn't going to be able to make that, bro. I knew there was no way. I said, yo, Tank Davis is not going to be able to continue to make 135. In fact, I said that he was going to move up or retire because he didn't want to move up. I said that yesterday. Come on, man. Don't cap like that. Ramirez, I think you mean Haney couldn't make 135 and was weight bullying. No, I wasn't talking about Devin Haney. I was talking about Tank Davis. Tank Davis could no longer make 135. You can't. You can't. You say, Ramirez, you say, bro, Tank's smaller than Manny Pacman and Shakur. You see, that's the thing. You're taking smaller as in height. Meanwhile, Tank Davis been walking around at 160 and 170. What are you talking about, Ramirez? Come on now. You don't know what you're talking about. Pacman is smaller. Like, Tank Davis, have you seen Tank Davis in between training camp? What are we doing? What are we doing, bro? Manny Pacquiao is a fighter who, if you put him next to Tank, he looks smaller right now. Let that sizzle in your spirit. Manny Pacquiao, because of his age, he ended up moving up. Yeah, he's still smaller than Tank if you put him next to Tank. And he's fighting at welterweight. And Tank fighting at 135. What that tell you? What that tell you right there? So, Tank Davis, as much as you want to believe that he's a small guy, he can't make 135 no more. His body is bigger. His frame is bigger. And he's trying to make the same weight that he was making at 25 years old. Now he's 30. No way. You think it's a coincidence that yesterday I was trying to tell you? I want you to think about that. You think it's a coincidence that yesterday I was trying to tell you, bro, Tank Davis is going to leave because he can't make 135 anymore and he don't want to fight at 140. And hours after I told you this, Tank Davis says, I'm going to 140. You think that's a coincidence? Do you think that's a coincidence, family? And Ramirez, you're saying I could fill in my frame. It's not about filling in your frame. It's about you shrinking down. That's what you're not understanding. Whatever you weigh right now, that's your walk-around weight. Tank Davis goes down 20 pounds, 30 pounds below where you at right now. You're not seeing that, though. You think, oh, no, he's short. He's a little dude. Meanwhile, this dude walking around 160, 165 pounds. Come on. Come on, bro. Come on. You got to just see Tank Davis to have, like, do you go blind? Like, that's the one thing where you want to believe a narrative, you're willing to go blind to not believe that narrative. You can see pictures of Tank Davis, fat as hell, big as hell, and act like you didn't see them. You can see reports of Tank Davis weighing 160, act like you didn't see them. You, like, bro, there's videos out there. Videos of Tank Davis. And you over here acting like that, like, nah, you just making that stuff up because I'm on denial about the shit I seen with my own eyes. You on denial, Tank a weight bully. Claymore Rain, I'll be honest, Tank looked good at 135. He been showing up 132, 134 on the scale. I think him at 140 is great though. But challenge to compete up there, he has to be ready to commit, or he may get clipped. Look, this is why I say what I say, Claymore Rain. As an elite level athlete who has all the tools and resources, all the best equipment, all the best nutrition, everything, access to the best of everything, right? He can make weight. But I believe that he struggles a lot to make it. He can make it and continue to make it. But I I say it's no coincidence that just yesterday I was saying he cannot make 135, and that's why he may retire. And he debunks the retirement rumors by saying I either fight the big dog or I'm going to 140. Honestly, I don't think he could continue to make it. You know, I mean, not that he could continue to make it, but that he can continue to make it and feel good and feel as strong. And his performance versus Lamar Roach could be part of that. Because remember, most of the narrative around the performance was his mental focus. That was most of the information or the talking point. He wasn't focused, going through it with Coach Cal, who wasn't the main coach for that fight, and personal situations. But what about what he went through in training camp to make that 135? What about that part? And it's like I'm saying, if we look at not just these guys, Shakur, Devin, all of them, if we look at historically, fighters who move up through different divisions, if we look at when they were 25 versus when they were 30, it's going to be very hard to find a fighter who stayed in the same division throughout that time, throughout those years, especially after already having moved up to fight in a higher division and then going back down. Come on. Come on. You got to think about that. Think about elite level fighters, champions who won in different divisions. When's the last time that you can think of a champion who won in a division and went back down and stayed in a lower division for 5 years? How many times has that happened? Okay, so somebody's gonna need a 30-minute timeout just to relax. You got too much energy right now. You need a little 30-minute timeout. Relax and come back a little bit more relaxed, more in a good mood. In that 30 minutes, you could drink a coffee and feel more positive when you get back. Talk about the fights. You want to talk about Jay Smith? Come on now. Mackie Malcriado, there's no coincidence in the algorithm. There is none whatsoever. There is none. Luffy, I love Mike Tyson. He's a legend. We're not talking about Mike Tyson, but I'll give you that. He is a legend. That's a fact. Claymore Rain, what do you think about the WBA moving towards maybe either offering Tank a champ in recess or even activating Amando? So look, man, the whole situation with Tank Davis in the 135 division is crazy. And I'm going to tell you why. Before we get to the specifics of the WBA, you think about it. Tank won a title in that division it was a secondary title in which he beat Gamboa to gain it, right? So it was a secondary vacant title. He beat Gamboa. So now he's holding the secondary title. While he had that title, Devin Haney has held the main title. I think Lomachenko held the main title. And maybe Shakur as well. Other fighters held that main title. And then eventually that main title was emailed to him. So in reality, it's like my main focus is more like you ain't even fight a champion at 135 yet. You ain't even fight a reigning champion. So honestly, Claymore, my brother, I don't even give a damn what the WBA do, unless they gonna they gonna put together a good mando for him. Boom. Okay, here, give him a good mandatory. Give him somebody in the top three, whatever. But what has Tank like? You gained that title versus a washed up Gamboa and number 4 the champion in the division. That's all I think about when I see the belt on Tank. Like, damn, still ain't fight no champion. Still bringing up guys from the 135 division. Lamar Roach from the 135 division. Went down to fight Little Leo. Then brought up also Androide Garcia from the 130 division. So it was like, damn, we keep getting that bullshit. Cayman 44. We must admit, Tank gives up the height and reach advantages against everyone he fights. I've heard Shakur and Roach say Tank is too small. That's why they are confident in beating him. You have to understand, Cayman 44. He give up height and reach, but they give up power, which is Tank Davis' equalizer. We watch Tank Davis lose rounds all the time, partly because of height and reach. Then he lands that bomb and it's all over. And height and reach doesn't change anything. Look at the huge height and reach Ryan Garcia had on him. Still got stopped. Claymore Rain. Put Schofield Jr. up for the Mando. Or put Roach versus Schofield for the title. Ooh. And you know what? Schofield ready. Schofield's ready for his shot. I'm going to say it right now. That performance versus Tevin Farmer, bro, we got to give it to him. I expected him to win. Matter of fact, that day in the morning, I was telling everybody, yo, look, Tevin Farmer, he a good fighter. He has a lot of experience, but he's already been through a lot. Got a lot of mileage on him. Took a lot of punishment throughout his career. This a young, fresh, hungry fighter. Nah, he gonna take a beating. But a first round, explosive, brutal stoppage like that, I did not expect. So Floyd Schofield, I believe he ready. He ready for a title shot. That's it. Give it to him. Let's see where he's at. Armando Rosado. Salute, champ. Salute, Armando. Bam. In the building. And the whole Claymore Reign. The division should be given an opportunity to move forward with unifications and the biggest fights. Oh, man. You see, Claymore Reign, here's the biggest problem with that. There's people that don't care about it. It hurts me to say it. But there's people who say they just care about who's making the most money. And who's having the most success. Who's putting the most butts in seats. I was having this... Look, what you said, I was having the same conversation. And it always ends up, well, Tank is going to make more money. He don't got to fight him. And he don't got to fight that person. And he make more money than this person. He's selling more pay-per-views than that person. Tank make more money than this guy. So, unfortunately, it seems like people are shifting their interest to who's more popular as opposed to who's actually trying to become the best. Who's actually trying to earn these titles. And there's a lot of fans who understand what's going on and who are always going to say, yo, I want to see guys chasing that legacy. I want to see guys fighting the best. That fan base isn't going anywhere. But there's also that social media fan base saying it's about popularity. It's about who's making the most. It's about... But we see fighters who are not giving in to those fans. We see Terrence Buck Crawford. We see Clarissa Shields. We see all these fighters achieving greatness. They're achieving greatness. Claymore Reign. F the casuals. It's a new season in boxing. They can catch up or tap out of boxing. It's ready for structure and resurgence of legacy and greatness. Facts. And you know what, Claymore Reign? I think these young fighters are going to start changing that mindset. Because if you think about it, in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, We had that mindset. We watch this, Claymore Rain, and I bet you're gonna feel me on this. When Mike Tyson was fighting Evander Holyfield, when Lennox Lewis was fighting, you know, Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson, back when Riddick Bowe beat Evander Holyfield, when Oscar De La Hoya and Tito Trinidad was fighting each other, these people was making millions of dollars. Yet, that was a sidebar of the conversation. We wasn't arguing about who was making more money. We wasn't arguing about who was putting the most butts in seats. We wasn't arguing about the biggest payday. We was arguing about who's the best. We was shredding each other apart about Tito Trinidad being better than Oscar. We was shredding each other apart about this guy punching harder and having better footwork than your guy. We were shredding each other apart about the stuff that was going down inside the ring, bro. How did it shift from us arguing about, I think Oscar De La Hoya is going to beat him up because of the right hand, and you telling me that Trinidad's stronger? How we went from that to, yo, but my guy put more butts in seats than your guy. And my guy selling more pay-per-view than your guy. And your guy has more titles, you're right. But guess who sold more pay-per-views this year? How we transitioned from this to that? I'll tell you. I'll tell you how we made that transition. We could credit the PBC for that. We could credit Al Heyman and the PBC for that transition into fans going from arguing about the fights and the fighters to arguing about money and who's making the most money. Claymore Rain, we have to look forward. Shout out to Xander, Shushu, ooh, Abdullah Mason, the young heavyweight like Moses Itama, ooh, Big Caballero, the young super middleweights, the future. Bro, salute, Claymore Rain. Those are all facts. That's what I'm telling you. The whole narrative of fighters wanting to just make a lot of money, because we see fighters right now who have said, nah, yo, I'm trying to make my money. It's about my money. That whole narrative is shifting. Where we see young fighters saying, yo, I want to be the best. I want to be the greatest. I'm trying to achieve greatness. Yo, Claymore, remember Carmel was willing to turn pro versus Lee Wood in a title shot? And that was no cap. That was no cap. When Floyd said, yo, Lee Wood, what's up? Let's make this happen. Let's turn him pro with you. That was no cap. He was really willing to do that. And if you see the mindset in Carmel Moulton, he's already thinking, climbing up the ranking fast to start grabbing titles. Start making history. I'm going to tell you something, Claymore Rain. And this is going to sound controversial. It's going to be maybe a little bit controversial right now when I say it. But I believe it. And I'm going to stand on it. You know, there's going to be a receipt that I said it. And I promise you I'm going to stand on it. And we're gonna let the time pass. And I'm going to always stand on it. And we'll see where we go with it. Carmel Moulton is going to have a better career than Tank Davis. I know. That sounds crazy. Like, whoa, what are you talking about? Tank is the face of boxing. This kid has just started. He hasn't done anything. I'm going to tell you why I say that, my guy. Think about this for a second. When Tank Davis met Floyd Mayweather, got signed, he was already a professional fighter. I think he had, what was it, like 9 fights in? Or something like that? He was already a professional fighter. Floyd saw him, understood that he was special, brought him in. The rest was history. Carmel Moulton been around Floyd since he was, 12, 13 years old? Most of his amateur career, he was already in the money team. Training with professional fighters. Being around great fighters. As a little kid. As a little boy. Carmel Moulton's still a teenager. He's a kid. So we have to understand, if he's that young and they were already willing to turn him pro and and have him do it versus a world champion, and he's telling us, I want to fight the champions, I want to get the titles, I want to be the greatest. This kid is not just gonna fight to become popular and make the most money. He's gonna fight to earn a spot in the history books. And I feel super confident in saying that. Now, we have to understand that Tank Davis is only 30 years old. And he's telling us that he's not retiring. So he's gonna have time to accomplish and build a legacy. Yes. But I believe, just like Kermel Moulton joined the money team earlier, younger than Tank, he's gonna win a title younger than Tank. He's gonna win in multiple divisions younger than Tank, and so on and so forth. So he's gonna start accomplishing before Tank Davis, but also, and more importantly, he's gonna accomplish more than Tank Davis. Watch. Remember that Jay Smith told you this in July of 2025. Man. Claymore Rain, of course, he very well may. These guys have an opportunity to make the biggest fights for the realest bags. The PBC model is dead. The money want legacy today. And you know what's the thing, Claymore Rain? That PBC, think about this, my brother. I'll be trying to say that to people. PBC was very smart in separating legacy from money, because they taught the fan, brainwashed the fan to believe that money was more important than legacy. Now, watch this, Claymore Rain. In the 90s, when we watch, look at the legacy fighters, right? Oscar De La Hoya, Tito Trinidad, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield. Legacy fighters, all-time greats with Hall of Fame careers. All of those guys were getting the biggest paydays in boxing. Oscar De La Hoya was the first welterweight to make a $30 million payday. At that time, it was only the heavyweights. Mike Tyson was the only fighter making that money. And Oscar De La Hoya made it in the welterweight division. So, my point is that legacy comes together with money. Because when you fight the biggest fights, you also make the most money. It's the PBC that try to fool people into, nah, it's legacy and then this money, we choosing money. But both could go together, hand in hand. You don't have to pick money and leave the legacy aside. Because let me give you an example. If Tank Davis fought Teofimo Lopez, if he fought Shakur Stevenson, if he fought Devin Haney, he's going to make a lot more money than he made versus most of his opponents. He's going to make more money than he did versus Frank Martin. He's going to make more money than he did versus Rollies, versus Leo Santa Cruz, versus Roach, versus Andrade Garcia. He's going to make more money with those guys. So why we acting like, oh no, he's chasing the money. He's chasing the money. Well, you go make more money if you fight those guys. So legacy and money easily comes hand in hand, because when you win those legacy fights, the huge paydays come with it. Look at Canelo Alvarez, the cash cow of boxing. He's won big fights versus big names. Now he gets the big paydays. So legacy and money go right there hand in hand together. The people who's made the most money won the biggest fights. But then PBC came and separated the two and told you, no, wait a minute, because there's legacy and then there's money. You could choose one or the other. And they actually convinced fans to make that argument. It's like, nah, because he's not chasing the legacy, he's going to chase the money. Well, guess what? If he chased the legacy, he's going to make a shitload of money. He's going to make more money by chasing the legacy. Unless you try to chase the legacy and get your ass whooped. Then your money's going to go low. That's the thing. When you chase legacy, you got to win for your money to go up. If you chase legacy and you get rocked, your money's going to go down. Claymore Rain, 100% Jay Smith. They tricked the fans, gave them knockouts over legacy, making lopsided fights, serving tomato cans to punchers, giving casual KOs to excite them. There you go. And that recipe, it worked, but it was also a ticking time bomb. That was the recipe that started the ticking time bomb that would eventually end Showtime. They told Showtime, look, we got these big stars producing these knockouts. And it turned out that it's not what Showtime thought. It's not what they sold. It's not what they sold to him. Agent 17. You seen that Turkey want them legacy fights. He doesn't want no legacy fights for no money fights. So I do have to say this. The quote-unquote legacy fights cannot be every fight. It cannot be every fight. You cannot fight every single fight the best. It just doesn't work that way. There's a lot of reasons behind it, which I'm going to get into. Agent 17, if you chase those top fights against other elite fighters, you're going to get paid good, but you got to win. That's the point. You got to win those fights. You got to win those fights. But if you win them, you're going to make a lot more money. The notion that you should just chase the money and forget about the legacy is crazy. When you chase the legacy, you're chasing the money too. You chase the legacy, you're chasing the biggest bags. Claymore Rain and the promoters like Al made all the money over paying a few punchers and patting these tomato cans, including the network, got screwed. My God, bro. They got Showtime got. And you know what? What happened to Showtime should not have happened. Because they know what happened to HBO. Why would you pay money out like that and let the boat get sunk when y'all watch HBO do the same thing? Look, Boxing After Dark and Claymore Rain, let me say this. Let me give you this opinion and tell me what you think. Sometimes boxers getting a lot of money is good for them, right? Good for their family. But overall, it's not good for boxing. And I'm going to tell you why. Boxing After Dark, well, HBO Boxing, it went belly up because they tried to, well, not they tried, they did. They overpaid fighters to secure the big cards. That's it. They say, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to give them a shitload of money and they're going to come over here. Nobody's going to be able to compete with that. The strategy worked. They got everybody. But when you overpaid them and you didn't get a return on that investment, eventually you're going to go belly up. That's it. You're going to go belly up. So Showtime should have seen that and said, wait a minute. We can't be guaranteeing these guys millions of dollars. Showtime was guaranteeing millions of dollars to those who wasn't even on pay-per-view. Yo, look, Keith, Danny, Thurman, Errol, and a few others with PBC made millions of dollars with Showtime without even being on pay-per-view. Guarantee money and all that. So, Showtime made the same mistake as HBO. Y'all watched it happen and then y'all did it. That was crazy. Claymore Rain, they don't want to fight no more. Broke up over boxing, 860. Yo, I just got on the stream, but I just had the same argument. PBC has fooled fans for a while, and I'm a fan of PBC. The fight game is promoter motivated for money. Thanks, Al Heyman. Like I said, man, we made a transition from arguing about this guy's stronger, this guy hits harder, this guy's going to knock your guy out, to my guy makes more money than your guy, and my guy does more pay-per-view than your guys, and who puts more butts in seats? Anybody who's here over 35, 36 years old knows money was never part of the conversation. It was never part. It could be a sidebar. Like, whoa, this guy made a lot of money. But we never argue about who's making the most. That literally became a talking point when PBC started to explode, started to get more popular. In fact, to show you that that was a PBC mindset that was spread, PBC also started the sides of the streets. When have you ever in your life heard the phrase, y'all on that side of the street and we on this side of the street? When in your entire life did you ever hear that phrase before PBC? So they had their own strategy of the way they were doing things, but it just hasn't worked. It hasn't been working. Armando Rosado, Marvin Hagler would say, not easy to wake up early in silk pajamas and get up to go for a run. Broke up over boxing. Not until Mike Tyson was money really a factor. But again, think about it, broke up over boxing. We was taught, look, I still remember when Mike Tyson became the first fighter to make $20 million. And I remember when Mike Tyson became the first fighter to make $30 million. If I'm not mistaken, it was Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield 1. No. I can't remember. But Mike Tyson was the first guy to make 30, and I remember that. And then Oscar De La Hoya was the first guy below the heavyweight division to make $30 million. But the point is, we was not making that an argument back then. Back then, if I was a Tyson guy and you was a Holyfield guy, I wasn't arguing with you like, well, Mike Tyson sold more pay-per-views and Mike Tyson made more money than Holyfield. That was never an argument, bro. Ever. Nobody ever argued. Yo, Tito Trinidad made more money than Oscar De La Hoya. De La Hoya made more paydays than Trinidad. If you think about it, those arguments have never been made. Nobody's ever argued those talking points. Claymore Reigns. Fans been watching legacy fights in their heads and making up their minds who's the best with the eye test. No longer pushing to see the fights. Diabolical. That's it. They feel good enough with saying, Tank would knock Shakur out if they fight, but I don't need to see it. Yo, it's crazy. It's crazy. John Parham. Salute, my brother. Bam. Nettie Burnett. Yo, free my other account, brother. This Raw Dog. Oh, shit, Raw Dog is in the building, my peoples. Yo, Raw Dog, hit me up now. Hit me up now, Raw Dog. You're going to be the first verified today. This is actually, this is going to be a new thing. For Boxing for Breakfast, this is gonna be the new thing. People gonna be verifying on the show. You're in. Raw Dog, hit me up right now, live. You're in. John Parham, my G, my brother. Bam. Salute. Broke up over boxing. You're right. The fight was just that it was never about money. Back in the days, we got fights and it was never about money. And look, I say this, broke up over boxing, Claymore Reigns, John Parham, MAW. I say to you guys, think about it. Did you ever have a debate about who made more money between Holyfield and Mike Tyson? Did you ever have a debate about who made more money between Oscar De La Hoya and Tito Trinidad? Did you ever have a debate about who sold more pay-per-views between those fighters from back then? Those debates didn't exist. Those conversations literally didn't exist. Never. Y'all see? Superman, Smith cooking. Superman, salute, my brother. Appreciate it. That's what I'm trying to tell you, my people. We never had a debate. That's why we can't go back and think who made the most money out of these two fighters when they fought, who sold the most pay-per-views. We literally didn't give a damn about that. I know Mike Tyson was the first guy to make 30 mil. I know Oscar De La Hoya was the biggest, the cash cow. I know, so I know because they were opposed the money that they was making, but that was never part of the debate. Once PBC started to tell people that Errol Spence is putting more butts in seats, that Tank Davis is selling more pay-per-views, that these guys are on that side of the streets and they're the ones making the most money, before you know it, they had an entire fan base debating about who's more popular, who makes more money, and that's it. They changed the landscape of these debates. They completely changed it. Juan Ocasio, Floyd was the first fighter I heard talking pay-per-view numbers. But there you go, PBC. That comes from the PBC. The same thing. Anyone in here, right? Anyone in here, my peoples, have you ever heard the phrase "that side of the street" before PBC started bringing it up? You ever heard that phrase in your life? Anybody tell me if you ever heard that? I never heard it. I never heard it, ever. Oh no, he's on that side of the street. Before PBC showed up, tell me if you heard that phrase. Superman, hit the Lizzies for the good breakfast combos. Hell yeah, my peoples. Hit that like button. Come on now. Yeah, some of y'all be ducking that like button the same way Tank been ducking Shakur. The same way, no different. Broke up over boxing. We never cared about the money. We only had arguments after the fights and still never spoke about the money. Bro, we argued, and even before the fight, we would argue about how my guy's gonna beat your guy up, your guy got a weak chin, my guy hits harder. You would argue that your guy's faster, he's gonna beat my guy up. The argument was about what we felt was gonna go down inside the ring. And then after the fight, we're gonna trash talk. If your guy won, you're gonna trash talk me. My guy won, I'm gonna trash talk you. We're gonna go back and forth. When did the fan debate, the fan conversation leave the ring and go into the fighter's bank account? We all know. My people, we got a verification. Bam. My people, check this out. We got a live verification in the building. Raw Dog is officially part of the Box Center family. Yo, Raw Dog, I'm not just on blocking you. You getting your wrench, family. See you in a few. Appreciate you, fam. There you go, my peoples. That was a verification from Raw Dog. He about to get that wrench. Yeah. Yo, Raw Dog, I'ma wait till I get off of this live because, I got to play around and shit. But you got your wrench, my guy. Stick around, you got your wrench. Yeah. John Parham, J. Smith, welcome Agent 17 here, young man who I invited to the channel who loves boxing. Ooh, Agent 17. First of all, salute. If John Parham brings you in the building, my G. Yes, you is in the building. I appreciate you dropping in. Agent 17. I was in here last night, but it was Jay Smith was ending his live. Oh, we just got started, my G. It's only 7:30 in the morning. We still got some time to go. And I'm going to remind y'all why I'm Jay Stradamus, my peoples. I am Jay Stradamus, I promise you. Superman. PBC got people going crazy in these YouTube streets. And all they say is, thanks, Al Heyman. He ain't even there. I heard Al been sick and Scampson. And the school bus are running this PBC. Look, man, whatever's going on with the PBC, all I could tell you is that so many folks were calling me a hater. You a hater. But some of those people, as they were calling me a hater, they were seeing what was happening. And I got receipts for that. I told people Showtime was going out of boxing. They was going to pull the plug on boxing. And they called me a hater, and boom, there you have it. They pulled the plug on boxing. I told people that the deal with Amazon Prime was not going to be as good as they thought. And look, how many PBC fighters are active right now? How many PBC cards have we seen this entire year? We're in July. Halfway, more than halfway through the year. How many PBC cards have you seen this year? And think about the fact that Matchroom literally has a card almost every week. Top Rank has a card almost every week. Queensbury has a bunch of cards. I think PBC, what, 4 cards this entire year? So that shows you right there. That's a look behind the scenes, or a clue of what's going on behind the scenes, where most fighters are inactive. Most of the fighters, you see fighters leaving the PBC. Those who can't leave, because if you're tied up by a contract, you're tied up. Those who are tied up by contract, most of them are inactive. And then they got people leaving. And then you don't see a lot of cards. You see Kermel Moulton fighting on cards that are not even PBC cards, that are not even on Amazon Prime. You see PBC fighters fighting on other networks that are not on Amazon Prime because there's no cards. So PBC right now is not looking good. It's not looking good, my people. That's why Eddie Hearn, remember when Eddie Hearn was going back and forth with Leonard Ellaby, and he said there's no more sunshine when Tank is gone? He's telling him, like, that's your star. What you gonna do when Tank is gone? What's gonna happen? So, if Tank stick around for at least 4 more years, till he's 34, by that time he'll be passing the torch to Kermel. They good. Now, we had Tank, now we got Kermel. But Kermel's only, what, 19? Is he 20 already or 19? Kermel's a young buck. You can't put the whole label on his back right now. Agent 17, I love Top Rank. They got me and my dad into Keyshawn Davis until he pulled that BS assaulting that fighter backstage. I don't really pay attention to Tank. I feel like he fights cans. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you like this, Agent 17. It's not that he's fighting cans. He's not fighting cans. He's just not fighting the best. He's not fighting the top dogs. And I say that because if you think about it, Frank Martin, Ryan Garcia, Rollies, Pitbull Cruz, Leo Santa Cruz, you know, these guys are not bums. Lamont Roach, a world champion. None of these guys are bums. In fact, they're all very, very good fighters. It's just that they're not the best. They're not the top dogs in the divisions that Tank has been in. So while we want to see Tank fight the best, I would say it's a little bit unfair to say, well, he's fighting cans. Because, yo, look at the guys he's fighting. Superman, ain't no sunshine when Tank's gone. Yo, ain't no sunshine when he's gone, when he's gone. Eddie Hearn killed it. Broke up over boxing. They're going to ride Davis Benavides after Tank until Kermel gets a little more famous or older. That's what I'm saying. Like, they need someone who can hold it down so they could give Kermel, what, 2-3 more years at least. Can't put the whole label on his back right now. John Parham, Jay Smith, Wrench Up, MAW, Vouch, he saw. Holy moly. Hold on, MAW, where you at, MAW? I don't know why I thought MAW already had his wrench, man. Oh my God. Yo, MAW, I'm wilding out, bro. I'm wilding out, MAW. Of course MAW got a wrench, bro. I'm wilding out. When I was giving back wrenches, I thought MAW already had his. I'm wilding out. You know that's a Box Center family member right there. Come on now. That's automatic. My peoples, let's make a quick shift. Real quick. Make a quick shift. Is this situation with Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson gonna actually develop into a fight? Could it actually happen? Could it actually happen? Broke up over boxing. Tank is fighting competition, but not the best. That's what I'm saying. But he's not fighting bumps. Because right now, to me, it is absolutely realistic that Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez could fight. They're going back and forth on social media. Neither one of them has an opponent lined up. Why not? Why not Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez? Why not? That's a good fight, my people. That's a good fight. I want to see it. Agent 17. It cut with Turkey, but apparently Teofimo was cut off by Turkey. But I'm not sure how true that is. I mean, look, Teofimo had his little back and forth with Turkey. But at the end of the day, it's all about the money. It's always going to be about the money. You may recall that Turkey also had a little back and forth with Canelo too. Remember, it was like a year ago, he said Canelo better do what he knows what's right. And Canelo was like, I don't need Turkey. And they kind of went back and forth on social media. But at the end of the day, Turkey saw this is the biggest fight in boxing and said, yo, let me make a big offer. Canelo like, okay, I need this much money. He's like, let's make it. So the fact that he and Teofimo had a little back and forth, that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't happen. Not necessarily. So my peoples, I will say, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, I see them going back and forth on social media. I want to see the fight happen. I think that, number one, they'll make a lot of money. Number two, it'll be in a big stage. And number three, most of all, it'll be two of the young guns in their prime, in their 20s. We're not getting too many of those fights, man. Think about it. Oscar De La Hoya and Tito Trinidad were the same age. They were born months apart. They fought each other when they was, I think, 28 years old. At 28 years old. These two legends, icons, all-time greats, fought each other when they was both in their 20s. We hardly get that. And we can get that with Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. I would love to see it, man. I would love to see two young fighters at the top, at the peak, in their prime, got their man strength, their youth, their speed, everything physically, both of them at the top. Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez fighting right now, that's an amazing fight. Soon as I saw them going back and forth on social media, I was like, oh shit. Oh shit, we might actually get this one. I was like, damn, please, boxing gods, grant us this wish of Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. We pray for thee. Agent 17. I mean, yeah, you see Canelo doesn't really respect Turkey either. He always calls him Turkey and not His Excellency, while everyone else calls him there except Crawford at times. Yeah, sometimes Crawford just says Turkey too. My people, not, a couple of people mentioned Turkey, but what's going on with this TKO league? What's going on with Turkey and Dana White's boxing league? Because I haven't been hearing, they keeping that on the super low, on the wraps. Yo, Claymore, have you heard anything about that Turkey league? Like, is it dropping soon? Are they putting together the roster? Like, Agent 17, I'm a big fan of Shakur. After that last fight, he really proved himself. And you know what? That fight was specifically to prove himself. You know, he showed people something that he's already done. He showed it to him again. Why do I say that? Agent 17, check out Shakur Stevenson fight with Oscar Valdez. And check out his fight with Jamel Herring. He went toe-to-toes with those guys, picked them apart, stopped Jamel Herring in the 10th round, which, by the way, that's the same Jamel Herring who dished out the only loss in Lamar Roach's record. Shakur stopped him in 10. So he's shown us, Shakur's already shown us that he can fight on the inside, he can fight on the outside. He's already shown us that. But you know how it is. When people hate on a fighter, they cling on to the worst performance forever. So look, Shakur stopped Josh Padley and now had this performance versus William Zepeda. And guess what? People still going to bring up De Los Santos. Even when Shakur's like 35 years old, bro, they're going to be like, no, because De Los Santos. You remember that De Los Santos fight? Look at Bud. They bringing up Gamboa. Terrence Crawford fought Gamboa 10 years ago, B, and they still bringing that up. Like, that's even a factor. Nah, because look what Gamboa did to him. Imagine that. They brought up Gamboa before Crawford was going to fight Arrow. Ask Arrow how that Gamboa fight worked out for him. Superman, he's better than both boxers. Core going to destroy T.O. worse than Jermaine Ortiz and Sandor Martin. Okay, man. Remember, styles make fights. That's true. Styles make fights. But also remember that most of the times when you put the great boxer and the great puncher to fight each other and they're both at an elite level, 9 times out of 10, the great boxers beat the great punchers. Tunnel vision. Shakur isn't going to 140 until he can no longer make 135. That is incorrect, Tunnel vision. He's willing to fight Conor Benn at 147. He's willing to fight other people at 140. Shakur's going to make whatever division he's going to make. He's got to make to fight a name. If there's a name at 140 that he could get, he'll make 140 today. If there's a name at welterweight that he's going to make that weight. So he's not going to pull a Tank Davis. You see, what you're saying about Shakur, it's actually Tank Davis. Tank Davis is the one who's now going to have to move up to 140 because he's been clinging to the 135 division for 5 years. So what you're saying, it actually applies to Tank, not Shakur. John Parham. Y'all, Agent 17 just started his YouTube channel journey. Let's wish him some luck. Whoa, Agent 17 started the YouTube journey. Look, Agent 17. I want to say something to Agent 17. I used to quote content, but it's all private now. Okay, so you kind of already work with content, but if you started your YouTube journey, and I want to say something about that, John Parham, because, you know, I started my YouTube journey a couple years ago, and there's some things when you become a YouTuber that you only find out as you start running into these things. There's things that you're going to run into that you were not expecting. And so I'm going to be talking about that. And just giving people, you know, some of what I think is going to be some good insight as to different things that they can do to help themselves out. Joan Rosa. De Los Santos should rematch Shakur since Keyshawn didn't want to fight him. Well, the problem with your statement, Joan Sosa, is that De Los Santos don't have a say in the matter. Shakur Stevenson is the world champion, and it's him that's decided if he wants to rematch De Los Santos. So you're like, De Los Santos should go fight Shakur? Well, that's probably not even going to be an option for De Los Santos. Plus, a lot of people don't care about that fight. I don't care about that fight. I know Shakur Stevenson fought hurt and still won. If he fights in good health, it's going to be an easy win, and then you're going to say it was boring. So I'm not interested in that fight. Tunnel vision. I understand what he's saying. I'm talking about what he's going to do. Okay, but we got to see what's going to do. You can't guess. You know, we're not psychics over here. We can't exactly guess what somebody's going to do. Claymore Reign, 2026 early. They've signed a lot of fighters with small profiles. They're building the roster. So what, like the first quarter, 2026? Agent 17, I appreciate it, Jay Smith. Always glad to take tips from the pros. Tunnel vision. I got you, my guy. I'm going to be talking about that in a few minutes. In a few minutes, my people, I'm going to be talking about my personal journey through YouTube. And Agent 17, I'm not just going to talk to you specifically about, oh, click here or do this or go there. I'm just going to give you what I think is good information for you to have as far as what you're going to deal with, situations that you're going to run into, that you're going to have to overcome if you expect to find success. Tunnel vision. Tank weighed in at 133 pounds for his fights. He isn't campaigning at 140 pounds. Yeah, he's going to 140 next. He said it himself. You'll see. You'll see. Just remember tunnel vision. What was your body like when you was 25 and what was your body like when you was 30? I'm just telling you, remember that. That's all I'm telling you. Remember, your body weight goes hand in hand with your size. So the older you get, the harder it is to make a lower weight. So to make you an example, tunnel vision, if you're over 30 years old, there's 100% chance that you don't weigh no 135. There's also 100% chance, unless you're a midget, that you weigh north of 150. You see, that's how the body works. When you was 25 years old, you could have been close to that. But if you're plus 30 years plus, nobody in this chat right now, 30 years plus, weighs 135. The body, bro. The body, tunnel vision. While you focusing on these numbers that you put together in your head, look at your own body and what happened between 25 and 30. Look at what happened to your body. Look at what happened to your weight. It changed. So what you're not understanding, tunnel vision, is that at 25 years old, Tank was making that 135 easy. At 30, that man is starving himself to make that weight. It doesn't matter that he went below the 135. What you think happens if you get on a hot sauna to sweat off pounds? You think you're just gonna calculate it? No, you sweat off pounds, you get out of there. Oh shit, I passed the weight. Cool. But guess what? Making weight starving doesn't work forever. You're gonna end up getting pummeled out there because he's gonna go to a fight week. But again, Tank Davis himself says, I'm going here. Tunnel vision, you're telling us what you made up in your head that you think Tank Davis is going to do. I'm going to rock with what Tank Davis got to say over what you made up in your head. My bad, tunnel vision, but I can't go with what you made up in your head over what Tank Davis said himself. JJ's in the house. Good morning, J. Smith. I'm here. Weigh 135 in 6th grade. Bro, you see what I'm saying? 135 is little kids walking around weighing 135. If you're 30 years old, you don't weigh 135. You don't. Come on now. Come on. Agent 17, Pacquiao almost got killed early in his career from starvation. He got KO'd early in his career from starvation. Got KO'd. Showed up to the damn fight looking like a zombie. I'm telling you. So, if Tank Davis, and this is my opinion, this is just an opinion, but if Tank Davis was to stay at 135, he's gonna end up getting beat up. He's gonna end up showing up to a fight so weak that his full skills are not gonna be up for display. He's gonna lose. That's why I told you guys yesterday, Tank is he's gonna retire because he cannot make 135 and he doesn't want to go to 140. And the same day I told you guys this, Tank says that he's going up to 140. That's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence, my people. Agent 17, yeah, I might be able to weigh 135 if I was 5 inches smaller at least. You see? Agent 17, I'm like Canelo height. There be no way he'll make 140. Shit, Canelo, he's stocky as hell. JJ's in their house. 4:45 in the morning in California. Whoa. 7:50 in the morning. Nah, bro, it's got to be 7:50 in California. Maybe that was 5 minutes ago. 7:50 in the morning in Dominican Republic, my peoples. Joan Sosa. Tank versus Roach, August 16th. Nah, my brother. So the August 16th date that you're seeing that was the last date that it was announced. But after that, they already said that they didn't have a date, that they didn't have the venue ready, that they didn't have the card. So we don't know if the fight is actually going to happen on August 16th, but that's most likely not going to be the date. And I'm going to tell you why, Joan Sosa. Look at it. Think about this. We're in July 31st already. That date is 2 weeks, 2 weekends away from right now. Do you think that fight is going to happen when in 2 weeks we haven't had no press conferences, we haven't had no face-off, we haven't had no promotion for that fight? They haven't even announced the full card for that event. So do you think in 2 weeks they're just going to put it all together and throw it out there? I don't see it. I think that fight is going to be pushed at least to September. And I'm saying best case scenario, they push it 1 month. But for them to push it to September, they would have to announce it soon. Because my guy, Tank Davis, there's a lot of people that consider him the face of boxing. He's one of the most popular fighters. When he's going to fight, you have to promote that fight properly. You have to promote it a month, 2 months. Think about this, bro. Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., that fight is way in November. They already promoting it. August, September, October, November. That's 4 months away, bro. And they already promoting that fight. And Tank Davis versus Lamar Roach 2 is going to happen in 2 weeks. And we haven't had a single press conference. Hell no, bro. And Tank Davis got arrested, which delayed a few days of training. That would have already been a delay right there. I say there's no way this fight happens before September. No way. I don't see it. Watch, they're going to announce. Because remember, when they announce a different date, they're going to have to announce the venue. We don't have a venue. We don't have a card. We don't have shit, bro. The only thing we have right now, Joan Sosa, is that date that you Googled. I Googled that date too. When you hit Google, when is the fight happening, boom, that's the date that comes up. But it only comes up because they said that before. After that date was announced, they've been said, that it was going to be pushed back, that they didn't have a venue, they didn't have a card. Steven Espinoza said that they was having a hard time getting the budget for the fight. So August 16th, I already gave up. I gave up on that date. Gave up big time. Like, I don't know about that date. JJ said that fight is still on the bookies' books. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. To me, the fight is happening, but it's not happening on that date. Your green thumb, my man. Let's go, Crawford. Salute, my brother. Bam. You know it. Terrence Crawford is going to put the beats on Canelo Alvarez. Age of 17. 10 getting arrested definitely helped delay the fight. Of course, you're talking about, getting arrested, having to bail out, having to deal with lawyers. He had to miss out on a few days of training. But then I saw a video that he was supposedly in training camp. But still, that fight, I don't see no way that this fight can actually take place in 2 weeks. When we haven't seen anything to suggest that it's even being promoted. K-Man 44. Look for Tank to go on the money back tour. Tank is going to leave boxing fighting Pacman, Floyd, and Jake Paul. Nah. Floyd Mayweather is never going to fight Tank Davis. Ever. He's never going to put in a situation. He already know he's had little personal beefs with Tank. He's not going to get in there with a young bull to get knocked out. Never. No chance whatsoever. Floyd Mayweather will never fight Tank Davis. Never even repeat that, my God. Pacman. The odds of Pacman fighting Tank are very slim. If anything, Manny Pacquiao will fight Floyd Mayweather. 2 fighters in their late 40s get the big bag. Neither one of them fights Tank. I don't see that happening. Jake Paul, maybe. Well, right now, based off of what Tank said, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Tank is going to fight Lamar Roach. Win, lose, or draw, he's going to 140. He already said that. But now he already got his excuse. If Lamar Roach whoop him, he's going to be able to say, I had to leave already. He only beat me because I couldn't make no weight no more. He's already floating out the 140. John Parham. Macas, this is a boxing channel. You're welcome to join the Talk Boxing. School him, John Parham. School him. Let him know what we doing over here. They think we doing over here some other stuff. I don't know. Your green thumb, exactly. And why would Floyd fight Tank? Mayweather has nothing to gain. I mean, no, look, I'm going to tell you like this. A Floyd Mayweather versus Tank Davis fight could make a whole lot of money. So he has that to make. But the point is, Tank Davis is a fighter that could knock Floyd out, could hurt him really bad. Floyd Mayweather's too old for Tank already. But right now, Floyd Mayweather could fight Manny Pacquiao and make way more money than he would get with Tank Davis. Why am I going to fight a young bull that's going to... And not only that, remember, Tank Davis and Floyd have had their little thing, their little back and forth, their little friction. How you think Tank will fight Floyd if he was to get the opportunity to get him in the ring with him? Think about that. Joel Sosa, do you think Tank Davis lost against Roach? Yeah. I saw him losing that fight. And I'm talking about, I saw him losing it without the knee. Without the what should have been a knockdown, I still had him losing that fight. At least 7-5. At least 7-5. But I would have even been willing to go 8-4 in Roach's favor. Had him winning in my people. He outboxed Tank. Outboxed him. Outlanded him. Outworked him. Landed more punches per round. See, the thing about boxing is that when scoring rounds is subjective. You know why scoring rounds is subjective? Because it's not about, and some fans don't even understand that, but it's not about who land more punches. Like the judges, they don't count and give the round to the guy who landed more punches. That's not how it works. Judges take a lot of things into consideration to score the round. They take punches landed. They take who lands the harder punches. They take ring generalship, who's controlling the ring better. They take a lot of things into consideration to score the round. So on a round that Lamar Roach landed more punches, they could say, you know what, Tank Davis moved a little bit better, made a miss sometimes. We give him the round to Tank. That's the problem with the way that rounds are scored. You're supposed to... The scoring system for boxing could easily be improved. And I'm going to tell you how the scoring system could be improved. Give punches a value. I might even get my receipt. And you guys, about what I'm about to say, I want you to comment on it, because I'm going to make a video of what I'm saying and your receipt about it. What you guys said about it. Hold on. The more aggressive fighter, go get the money. All type of points they look at. So I'm going to give you an idea of how in boxing they can improve the scoring system. Because we could never disappear controversial outcomes of fights. And it's because of that, because the scoring system is subjective. You make an opinion about it. I feel like this guy won, and that's it. That's literally what judges do. They take a criteria into effect, but it's really an opinion. I felt like this guy won. That's why you get split decisions. You felt like the guy won, and the other judge felt like that guy won. You could have a scoring system in boxing where you completely take opinion out of it. Let me give you an example, kind of like Taekwondo. In Taekwondo, a side kick is going to give you this many points. A spinning kick is going to give you this many points, etc. So let me give you an example. In boxing, a body punch that lands flush, and I'm just giving you an example to give you an idea where I'm going with it. A body punch that lands flush scores you 2 points. A headshot that lands flush scores you 3 points. A, a punch that is blocked scores you half a point. A punch that you slip scores you half a point. So you could put together a scoring system based on the stats of the fight, and whoever has the highest score per round wins that round. Right then and there, you eliminated the judges because you can use AI to count the scoring. And now, the fighter who inflicted the most damage, the fighter who lands the most punches, is going to win every fight. You're going to take the opinion out of the equation. Because if me and you watch a fight, I could score a round for this fighter because he landed more punches, but you can score a round for this fighter because he landed the harder punches. Forget that. Let's have a scoring system that is going to take our opinion out of the equation. JJ's in the house. Olympics gets scored just on touching the person. Yeah, I don't like the Olympic scoring either. I don't like the Olympic scoring either. As a matter of fact, the scoring system that I'm proposing is better because it's a scoring system that would be able to be utilized in the amateurs and in the professionals. But y'all think about it, because sometimes to get something better, to get something improved, you have to think outside the box. And the scoring system, having an automated scoring system based on where you landed with the punch, is going to always say who actually won the fight. Now we know who won. Don't tell me that this guy who landed 200 punches just lost to this guy who landed 125 punches. I don't want to hear it. Look how easy it is. Agent 17. I have good defense. I just need better offense. Got myself a bag to help work on that. So I got to tell you, Agent 17, the bag is great. The bag is great. Work on your combinations. You can work on your power. You can work on a lot of things. But the bag doesn't improve your offense much. And here's what I mean by that. You learn how to throw the punches, right? And you practice them. But then when you get in there in front of somebody who knows how to box, that work that you did with the bag is not going to be that helpful like you may think if you haven't done it. I'm saying if you haven't done it. Why? Because remember, the bag is not punching back at you. So when you don't have to worry about nothing coming back, it's easy for you. Right now, I step in front of a bag and I put together a few combinations that you might think, damn, he an elite level fighter. He elite. But no, it's just because when you don't have nothing coming back, it's easy to do a lot of things. So the real way to improve your offense is shadow boxing. It's no getting, and this the one thing that I like, man. Whether you're starting off or you've been around a long time, and when I see it, I enjoy it. Shadow boxing is not about people trying to knock each other out. Yes, sometimes they go hard, put it all out there. But shadow boxing, I mean, my bad. Not just shadow boxing, though. You know, because when you shadow boxing, you're using your footwork and all that. I'm talking about sparring. My bad. I only said shadow boxing. I meant to say shadow boxing and sparring. Why? Because when you shadow box, you use your footwork, you use your hands, you use your head movement, you do a lot of little things. But now you graduate to doing those things while somebody's coming at you. You know, it's not the same for you to slip punches that are not coming at you to actually see a punch coming and have to slip it. It's two whole different things. So I would say to improve your offensive output, you have to spar. Sparring is the only thing that's really gonna make a difference. Because again, I've seen people look real good in the bag, real good, pop, 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 and get pummeled when they sparring. Look like shit. Why? Because they can't fight. Can't fight. You know, throwing a punch is not gonna be the same as when you throwing it at a moving target, at a target that's attacking you. Agent 17, I have a decent sparring partner. He just doesn't like to sit in the pocket, which helps me work on closing the distance, but it's hard on an open road. I mean, that gives you, you know, the ability to work on cutting the ring and doing different things. Look, it's good for you to have sparring partners with different abilities. For you to have that guy who's going to use that footwork and make you earn it. And then get that guy who's going to be a little bit stronger than you and wants to mix it up inside of a phone booth. But I will say, Agent 17, the best sparring, the sparring that you're going to learn the most from is the sparring where you're going soft, where you're not trying to hurt each other, where you're not going hard as hell. That's the sparring where you learn from. If you get in there, you banging it out with somebody, there is no learning from that. Absolutely nothing is being learned. We're just beating each other up and that's it. Nobody's learning anything. Nobody's getting any better. But with softer sparring, where you're able to go a little bit slower and dissect what your opponent is doing a little bit better, and you yourself are able to do certain things, that's when you start figuring it out. And you start adding little tools to your bag and getting better at it and perfecting these little things that people don't even realize. But yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. You gotta spar. John Parham, Jay Smith, check out Agent 17 and give him some tips. He just started. Definitely, bro. Definitely. I'll be happy to give you some tips. And I was talking about YouTube earlier, my guy. I was talking about YouTube earlier. I want to talk to you a little bit about that too. Agent 17, I'm friends with one of David's cousins who's training there for his amateur tournament. Okay, so knowing somebody, you know, maybe his cousin, you know, is not with Benavidez all the time and hanging with him, but there's a good possibility that Benavidez has given him feedback, has given him tips. Any information that you can absorb, that you can get, ask. If you're around someone who's performing at the high level, ask questions. Anytime that you get the opportunity to be around people who you know, well, this person is performing at the highest level or at a very high level, don't hesitate to ask questions. John Parham, JJ used to slap fire out of the homie to the point it led to fights sometimes. Damn. Pop! Go get the money. Jay Smith, I wonder why you couldn't see the video I sent you from the gym yesterday. Well, go get the money. I don't know why I didn't see it. I don't know why I didn't see it. I mean, I think I believed you. Maybe I clicked on it, but I don't know if I think I just believed you. I looked at it real quick, but it's like you sent me the video like to prove it to me that you were going to the gym. And I think I believed you. I was just giving you shit, but I believed you that you was going to the gym. Like, Agent 17. Yeah, he sparred Jorge Linares and stuff as well. My shit, go get the money, was that you was like, I'm going to the gym, but I was like, anybody could be going to the gym. Agent 17, do you have an Instagram I could follow or something along those lines? Agent 17, yes, I do have Instagram. Let me show it to you right here. So my Instagram is J Smith, the same way it's spelled for the channel. J Smith 134. JJ said, J Smith, did you see the video of me and the buffet yesterday? Goddamn, I didn't see it. Did you go in like that? You went in on the buffet? So look, I want to say something to the YouTubers. If there's anybody here that's a YouTuber right now, or for those who'll be tuning in later, first of all, this is Boxing for Breakfast. I'm Jay Smith, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science. And I want to give you a little bit of some tips or some information about becoming a YouTuber or what you can expect, you know, when you start off and that kind of thing. Take this into consideration. So when you become a YouTuber, appreciate it, Agent 17. When you become a YouTuber, the first thing that you're going to encounter is resistance. Why resistance? Because you're going to be around a lot of people who are going to feel like you can't do that. So you have to understand that most people are going to tell you you can't do that because they feel like they can't do that. And it's not always hate. Sometimes we think, oh, this person hating on me, that person hating on me. But it's not always hate, my people. It's not always about hate. It's about people subconsciously feeling like, damn, but I couldn't do that. There's no way he's gonna be able to do that. So that fear that they have of them not being able to do it, they project it onto you. Subconsciously, they want to convince you that you can't do it either. But this is what you have to understand if you want to be a YouTuber. And I'm gonna make the comparison with a rapper. Today, in 2025, anybody could be a rapper, right? Because you could grab your phone, do, drop some verses, do a video, and drop it on YouTube. Right now, anybody in here could make up a rap name, do a video, do a rap channel, and that's it. You're a rapper. Anybody can be a YouTuber just like that, right? But this is what I want you to understand, my people, and I'm being real. In every neighborhood that you know of, there's a bunch of rappers who can't rap for shit, who will never make it in rapping. But they don't have no real friends to tell them to the face, yo, my boy, your shit whack. Hang it up, go do something else. You can't rap, my boy, do something else. You cooked. They don't have nobody who will tell them, who will be honest and be like, yo, leave that shit alone, bro. What you doing? You're embarrassing yourself. You're a bum. And you see people struggling, trying to become a rapper, talking about, I'm the guy who bought potato chips and I put it inside the dip because I had to dip out of here because we was over here, but I left. And it's like, bro, you whack as hell. You can't rap. What are you doing? But inside his head, if I keep rapping, I'ma make it. So if you want to be a rapper, you have to have a certain level of talent. If you don't have that talent, you're not going to make it. You could rap 1,000,000 bars and you're not going to make it. So becoming a YouTuber is the same thing. You have to have a certain level of talent. If you don't have that talent, then you're going to become that guy who been on YouTube for 10 years dropping videos. You got 17 subscribers and you're still getting 3 views per video after 17 years. So you have to be honest with yourself. What I'm doing, how good am I actually at this? Am I really good at this? Do I believe in myself? Because if you believe in yourself, 100% of the time, I'm going to say go for it. Do you. But don't fool yourself. Don't ever lie to yourself about something that you're not good at, into believing that you're better than you actually are. That is important to understand it. Because if you don't understand it, you end up chasing something for years and years for nothing. You're not good enough. And you're right, MAW. That's a fact. The truth hurts. But if I'm doing something and I'm not good enough for it, bro, I want you to tell me the truth. And I could cut my losses right there. Cut my losses. I'm not gonna invest time. I'm not gonna invest money. I'm not gonna put anything into this. Anything. I'm gonna cut my losses. But if you feeding me bullshit about how, yo, you nice, you got it, then you might have me fooled thinking that I'm nice and I'm not. No. There's has to be anybody, my peoples, can grab a phone and be a YouTuber. Anybody. Now, are you going to be a successful YouTuber? That's the question. And I tell you what, I'm giving you my perspective, but you have to understand that right now, I'm somebody who's up and coming. You're getting the perspective of somebody who's relatively new and hasn't accomplished much yet. Okay, done some interviews with a few fighters, with a few people in the game. I definitely know some people in the game, but still, I don't have a brand deal. I don't have a contract with anybody. So my foot is not it's not in the door. My foot is not in the door as far as me signing a contract. I'm not commentating for Matchroom. I'm not commentating for Top Rank. I'm not doing fights on the zone. I'm not in yet. You see me on YouTube. But I'm telling you, when you're here, a lot of people, especially in the beginning, are going to discredit you. They're going to say, you don't know what you're doing. They're going to say, this is just a little hobby. They're going to say, listen, whatever you want to talk about on YouTube, you're going to find people that's going to say you don't know what you're talking about. You could talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you was watching when you was a kid. They're going to tell you you don't know shit about the Ninja Turtles. So if you're getting into YouTube, if you want to become a YouTuber, you have to understand that you have to be mentally strong. You have to be psychologically strong. People just see that guy on the other side of the screen and they think it's easy. Oh, that's easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. If it was easy, everybody would be getting millions of dollars to just sit in front of their phone talking, like Speed and all of these guys. But it's not easy. It's tough. It's a struggle. And also, when you start on YouTube, guess what? Nobody's gonna want to work with you. Nobody's gonna want to collab with you. Nobody's gonna give you the time of day. People won't even respond to your DMs. Why? Because you gotta prove yourself. You gotta prove to people that you're worthy, that they can open the door to you, that they can bring you to their platform. You gotta prove that. So when you start, it's very, very difficult. That's why a lot of people start, they get into YouTube, and they take a couple of steps and stay stuck right there and never even take another step. Because that first gap is tough to overcome. You gotta understand. People see you on YouTube, and to them, you don't belong on there. You're not supposed to be on there. What does he think he is? When I started, the comment that I got the most was like, yo, who do you think you are to be talking boxing? Why should we care about your opinion? Who are you? That's what you're gonna get. So you have to show people that you have what it takes to do what you're doing. If you have it, go for it. You're gonna get in. You're gonna find your way in. A door's gonna open for you. A door's gonna open for me. Right now, you see me on YouTube. You never know. One day you might see me on ESPN. You might see me on The Zone. You never know. A door's gonna open because I got that talent. That's why I'm here. So people just have to be honest with themselves. Do you have the talent to do this? If you have it, go for it and give it everything you got. If you don't, find something else. Find something else to do. And don't spend 20 years with the YouTube channel that got 5 subscribers. And 3 of those subscribers is your cousins. Stop. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Agent, nobody a year ago knew who Showbiz was, and now he's going shit for Turkey. See? There you go. There you go. Showbiz. And Showbiz was a guy like, kind of like an entertainer. Like, people didn't really see him as a guy in boxing. He was like, Like a YouTuber entertainer. Like he will say all these crazy outlandish things, make all these crazy expressions, yell. Look at the name, Showbiz. It's about putting on a show. And look where he's at now. All the way at the top. You see, that when you're a YouTuber and you get to that, that's the avenue that he chose to go for. I'm not gonna say he's at the top, although you can say he's at the top because of the type of job that he's doing, but I think he'll go higher than when he is now. But still, when you see from where am I right now? Where am I right now? I'm in my house. I'm in my house with my cell phone talking to y'all. So look at the leap that Showbiz made. From his cell phone all the way to he on the zone. I'll be seeing him on the zone. So there you have it. You can shoot for the stars, but you better have the talent. Because if you don't, you're just wasting your time out there. John Parham, J. Smith, is there an age limit to box in the Olympics? There is an age limit, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But if you Google it, I think it's like, it might be 40. Might be 40, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But there is a limit for sure. Because I remember that Manny Pacquiao was petitioning for them to let him in because he was past that limit. Jay Petty, 40. There you go, 40 years old. John Parham, Showbiz has a mouth for gabble, so it works in his favor. I'm telling you, Showbiz is a guy that he has the personality. Like, I don't know what his involvement in boxing is. Like, I'm talking about whether he himself boxes or... I remember I used to say, yo, Showbiz don't know shit about boxing. I don't know if he's actually been involved himself. I think he hasn't. But he has the personality. Showbiz is a character. That's not his real name. He has the personality. He came up with the character. He has the communication skills, the charisma. And look where he's at right now. Look where he's at. John Parham. Damn, 40. Whoa. Yeah, 40. What, did you want to compete in the Olympics, John Parham? Did you want to... Let me find out you wanted to go to the Olympics. Agent 17. Showbiz went from commenting fights in his basement and talking his opinion. He's not really into boxing himself, but he knows his shit. No, you listen. Showbiz, when you see him talking about it, he talk his shit, but his focus seems to be on the entertainment aspect. Like, if you see, the facial expressions, the yelling, the oh my God, it seems to me like his focus is on that aspect. But to be honest, I didn't know about him commentating on fights and doing that in his basement. Because I didn't see him commentating fights. I only saw Showbiz videos where he was like, bah, 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 like just talking into the camera and saying crazy stuff. Making crazy predictions. This fight's going to knock this guy out. And this guy got beat up. Just talking trash. John Parham. I think 40 is too old. Has anyone over 30 ever won Golden Gloves? Yeah. There's people in their 30s. In fact, I think people in their 30s have won. No, I'm sure people in their 30s have won Olympic gold medals. I don't even have to Google it. I was going to Google it, but I don't even have to. I'm sure people in their 30s have won Olympic gold medals. Because the Cuban guy won gold, I think, more than once in his 30s. Jay Petty, Showbiz don't know shit about boxing. But you're right. He got a goofy personality. Good for him. Listen, man. He has that personality. Like, bro, I could see him being a comedian. I could see him being in movies. I could see him being in TV shows because he got that personality. He's good for the camera. John Parham, J. Smith. I'm 330. No way in hell. I mean, you could lose 100 pounds right quick. Quick 100. I'll tell you how you could lose 100 pounds real quick. Agent 17. I want to compete middleweight or light heavyweight. Ooh, you going for the big guns. You going for the big guns. I would say right now, make sure that you're getting yourself in good shape. make sure that you're gonna be somebody that can bang it out and still have some energy for that next round. Cause them heavyweights go hard, and I seen heavyweights run out of gas in 2 rounds and get sparked out in the third. John Parham, I can see him on The Simpsons. Just business. What up, Slugger? Man, it's a shame you was right. Tank got exposed by Roach. Such a shame you was right, though. Respect. Just business. Respect. So look, man. Tank Davis and Lamar Roach. At this point, I'm just hoping to see the rematch. I'm just hoping to see how that fight is gonna play out. Give me the rematch. Give me the rematch, and let's see. You know, people saying Tank was not focused, Tank was not the same. Let's see how the rematch plays out. If Lamar Roach wins it, then we know he's that guy. But also I'll say I don't feel like Lamar Roach winning exposes Tank Davis. Fighters lose, champions lose, and if they would have rendered the right decision, which was Lamar Roach winning, that in my eyes that would not have diminished Tank Davis, because that would have meant he lost to a world champion that he cherry picked from a lower division, but is still a world champion. Superman, he know what he's talking about, but his target is for a specific audience. He know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, and I would say at this point in his career, showbiz is already going in a specific direction. So there's a certain way that he's creating his content. There's a certain community that he's already working with. So he's already. I would say that it's fair to consider showbiz as somebody who's established in the world of boxing. The moment that you get yourself in a certain situation that your platform reaches this audience, you're established in the sport of boxing. Blue Blood Sports TV, established in the sport of boxing. Fight Hype, there's certain platforms that are already established because a lot of people, to them, that's the go-to. There's some people that's telling me, yo, Jay, Box Center is established, Jay, because look, you got your own thing going on. But right now, my peoples, like I told you, you have to be real with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. I just told you, you could think I'm cocky that I got the talent. That's why I'm here, right? But I also got to be honest with yourself. I'm not established. How am I established? I got a job. I got a 9-to-5 job. How am I established? I don't think making making $120 a month on YouTube means you're established. I don't think so. So, no, I'm not established. I gotta be, even if there's some people, like, looking from the outside looking in, there are people who might feel like I'm established. Okay, he got a morning show. He's on every day. There's people who come check him out. There's fighters who know him. Cool. But I'm not established because I'm not living off of this. I'm not living off of boxing. That means that I'm not established within boxing. Showbiz the Entertainer, Blue Blood Sports TV, and these other YouTubers that are in boxing, that are real boxing content creators, they're established within the sport of boxing. I'm not, my people. So when you're a YouTuber, be honest with yourself. If you're honest with yourself, you can keep working. You can keep picking at it until you get to where you want to be. K-Man, Roach should let Tank slow up his strain. Stay active and get a fight in before the end of the year. A fight him and Gary Russell Jr. would be big. Ooh. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. The thing about Roach and Tank Davis, they have that rematch clause. They don't have an option to fight somebody else and then see each other. If you go fight somebody else, the rematch clause is done. We could talk about fighting in the future again, but the rematch clause is done. When you have a rematch clause with a fighter, you cannot go fight somebody else first. It's either we're going to fight each other or this rematch clause is cooked. That's the one thing. So as of right now, Tank got to fight Lamar Roach or retire from boxing if they have that rematch clause in place, or wait for the rematch clause to expire. Those are the options. But I don't even want to see Tank Davis with Gary Russell Jr. He's already said that he's going to move up to 140. Bro, Gary Antoine Russell is a world champion in the 140 division. Why would I want to see Tank Davis with Gary Russell Jr. when his brother, Gary Antoine Russell, is a world champion? MAW, I watched him grow. Same with Adi before he got picked up by the zone. Good luck to them. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, but that's what I'm telling you. These guys, they have the talent. They believed in themselves. And I guarantee you, if you ask them, they're going to tell you the same story as me. They're going to tell you, when I started, nobody wanted to work with me. Nobody wanted to give me an opportunity. Little by little, some doors started to open. Little by little, people saw the talent, started giving me more opportunities. And here I am. They took a lot of steps before getting there. Some people, especially people who want to get into YouTube but haven't done it yet, they have this idea that if I'm good at this, I'm going to probably get on, and within a few months, I might be like Kai Cenat, or I might be like this other real famous YouTuber. And it's not like that. It's not like that at all. And you might think, yo, if I could collab with them, I'm going to be like them. And that's not the way that it works. You're not understanding that these people, before they got there, they built a whole foundation, and that was a long process. You got to build it too. John Parham, Agent 17. He Team Bud, but I got Canelo in 10. Agent 17, I got Canelo in 8. Whoa. I think y'all going to be disappointed, Agent 17. Crawford by unanimous decision. MAW, I think once your popularity grows, a certain size of your celebrity bubble, where you're now known and kind of automatically sell. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. You have to first get to a certain level. Once you get there, that's it. Everybody starts, getting to know you, getting to be more open about communicating with you. Everything changes. But getting to that part is tough. It's tough, my peoples. You don't realize how far. Like, I'll give you an example. In my case, multiple world championship fighters that I know, that I could talk to, that I got their personal phone number, that I could reach out to. There's a fighter right now who's a reigning world champion right now, and I got that phone number. Yo, what's up? And I've never told you guys. You guys don't know. One day you're going to find out. One day I'm going to make a video of my whole journey. I actually want to make a little documentary of my whole journey, so you guys can see how I started off, how this whole idea started off, and how it's progressed, and where I am. And that's something that I want to talk about, so people can see, like, yo, it's not easy. It wasn't easy. There's a lot of sacrifice that takes place to get to a certain point. You're going to see all of this, my people. I promise you. But, again, for anybody who wants to be a YouTuber, you have to have the talent. If you actually have it, push. Keep pushing. Keep creating. Keep making content. Anybody who's good at creating, you don't need nobody to teach you how to create. It just comes to you. That's it. Age 17, I think the body and bicep shots will break down Crawford. The reason Agent 17, I don't think that's going to happen. If you look at Dimitri Bivol and Canelo Alvarez, he had some success with the bicep shots, but very little success with the body shots. Why? Because you're a fighter. You're definitely going to understand this as a fighter. When you're fighting somebody, right? If you want to land that left hook to the body hard, you got to close the gap. You got to do it from the inside, right? So you got to step in, bang, and land your body shot. You could do it behind the jab, bang, bang. You could, step in with a combination and then go low. But you have to close the gap. Canelo's bread and butter is that left hook to the body. We all know it. He didn't land that many of those against Dimitri Bivol. You know why? Because Dimitri Bivol used that reach advantage and was successfully able to keep him out of that distance where he could land that left hook consistently. So Bivol, bang, 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 with that long ass jab, every time Canelo tried to close the gap, bang, 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 and getting away to the left, to the right, bang, 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 jab, jab. Bivol close the gap, bang, bang. So Canelo wasn't able to do what he normally does. He wasn't able to operate on the inside. Just wasn't able to. And that's the reason why. Agent 17, a big guy always beats a good small guy. Agent 17, that's the problem. You're giving big and small a meaning. You know, I tell you you're giving it a meaning. You're giving it the meaning that you want to give it because you're disregarding the fact that Terence Crawford is taller and Terence Crawford has longer reach than Canelo Alvarez. Not only that, watch me distort what you just said. You said a good big guy always beats a good small guy. Watch this. When Canelo Alvarez fought William Score, he made weight. He fought William Score at 168, right? 2 or 3 days before, Terence Crawford got on a scale and weighed 185 pounds. So the day Canelo was fighting William Score, Terence Crawford was outweighing him by almost 20 pounds. Outweighing him by almost 20 pounds, taller and with longer reach. Those are the facts. Do you really think Terence Crawford is a good little guy? Taking into account that he's weighing more than Canelo, and right now weighing right around the same. Agent 17. Oh damn, I didn't know that. That's what you hit. That's why John Parham brought you here. So you could talk to Jay Stradamus. That's why you here, my G. I'm here to tell you. And Agent 17. I'm gonna tell you like this because you're new to the channel. I promise you. I never cap. I never make stuff up out of thin air to try to win an argument. I never just materialize information. If I tell you something, you could take that shit to the bank to get some pounds with it. Because it's going to be a fact. So, since, again, you're new to the channel, feel free to Google it, my guy. In the future, there's a lot of people who they don't even fact check me no more. They don't fact check me. They're like, yo, if Jay said that shit, it's a wrap. They understand. But you could Google it. Terence Crawford stepped on a scale and he was weighing 185 pounds. The same day, no, like 3 days before Canelo was fighting at 168. So when you take that into consideration, that right now Canelo and Crawford are weighing right around the same. They're both in the 180s. They're both going to cut about the same weight. And they're both going to gain about the same weight to fight. Because there's no rehydration clause. Is he really going to be a lot bigger than Crawford? Is it really going to be a good big guy versus a good little guy? It's not, bro. And Agent 17, I want you to consider this. Canelo's not a big dude, bro. Canelo's a guy who started his career at the welterweight division, moved up to 154, moved up to 160, and landed at 168. He's a very small 168 pounder who found success in that division because of his level of talent. His level of talent, bro. But Canelo's not a big dude. Look at every single opponent that he faced at 168. They all bigger than him. They all bigger than him. Even Charlo, who he brought up, who moved up from 154, looked bigger than him when they went to fight. Even Charlo, who moved up multiple divisions. Canelo's not a big dude. So your focus, most people, the logic of a small guy and a big guy, that focus is because of the weight. Oh, 154, 160, that's a big dude. But I'm going to ask you a question, Agent 17. And I'm going to show you how sometimes the narrative is stronger than our own eyes, than what we see. You see how you're telling me that the big guy, the good big guy beats the good little guy, which that's a great logic. Most of the time, that's what happened. That's a sound logic. I'm not disputing it. But I'm asking you, Agent 17. I'm asking you. When you saw them face each other, face to face, during the press conference, did Canelo look big in front of Crawford? Be honest. When they faced each other like that, face to face, the Canelo looked big. John Parham. I had to Google 2 times what Jay Smith said. Just say I'm 0-2 and threw in the towel. Wasn't trying to go 0-3. Appreciate it, John. I'm telling you, bro, when I drop, because the thing is, and I think that's part of the reason for the growth that you've seen slowly but surely, you've seen Box Center growing, is because people are understanding. I never say something to get attention. I never say something to try to get the views or try to get the likes. If I tell you this happened, just guaranteed this happened. There's no getting there. There's gonna be no way around it. And people starting to see that. Like, damn, man, if they say something, it's real. Superman, John, you saw my race. No race comment. Agent, I was talking more or less about the Bivol Canelo fight. So, Agent 17, let me tell you something interesting about the Bivol fight, right? When I tell people that Crawford has a longer reach than Bivol, they say, nah, that's different because Bivol was big. Bivol was too big for Canelo. Did you hear that narrative, Agent 17, that Bivol was too big for Canelo? Did you get to hear it? It was real common. A lot of people were saying it. A lot of people, nah, Bivol is way too big for Canelo. He was too big. Crawford reached insane, but I want you to think about this, my peoples. For those who said the Bivol was way too big for Canelo, did we see Bivol at any time bullying Canelo in that fight, putting his weight on him, clenching him, doing things that would affect Canelo as far as his weight? Or did Dimitri Bivol simply outbox Canelo? So what I'm trying to tell you is, the people who say he was too big for Canelo, Dimitri Bivol is not a power puncher. He never hurt Canelo in that fight. He never put his weight on Canelo in that fight. You know what he did use? He used his reach advantage to neutralize most of the things that Canelo's able to do. That reach advantage, Canelo couldn't get past it. And every time he went within his own range, punches was raining upon his head. Shamel Waters, you definitely knowledgeable. But you're forgetting Crawford has not been fighting at those higher weight classes. I agree with you. I understand that. But Chanel Walters, I want you to think about this. You're right. He hasn't been fighting in those weight classes. But if he's been walking around for the last 6 months weighing 185 pounds, and he's been sparring with middleweights, with light heavyweights, sparring with guys that's bigger and stronger than Canelo Alvarez for the last few months, you don't think an elite level fighter of the level of Terence Crawford is going to be able to pick up from fighting guys who are bigger and stronger than Canelo? You have to consider the skills, what Terence Crawford is able to do, and his advantages. That's why I say people focus on the power advantage, but they don't focus on the reach advantage. Did you see what Hamza Shiraz did to Edgar Berlanga with his reach advantage? Did you see it? Did you see what El Rayo Valenzuela did to Pitbull Cruz with his reach advantage? Did you see what Lennox Lewis did to Mike Tyson with his reach advantage? Look how far, now I'm going back and shit. So my point is, when you just say power, 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 and Canelo stronger, stronger, bigger, stronger, you're disregarding what reach really means in boxing. And Agent 17, you're a boxer. You're a boxer yourself. You know what reach can do. If you fought somebody that was a lot taller or somebody that had a long reach advantage on you. Jay Petty, Crawford not used to taking those kind of punches. That's crazy where you're talking about Crawford not used to taking those kind of punches when he's sparring with bigger and stronger guys than Canelo. I don't know, Jay Petty, how you decide what Crawford is used to. Imagine that. You, from watching TV, know what Crawford is used to. Unless you're a psychic, bro, there's no way you could know what Crawford is used to. It's impossible. Agent 17, Bivol definitely didn't overpower him. He outboxed him excellently. And that's my point, Agent 17. Bivol, when people say he was too big, too strong, that's not even coherent to what happened inside the ring. You there's no way for you to correlate big and strong to that actual fight where this guy was just outboxing Canelo, having him chasing him around, using the footwork. Outboxed him. That's all it was. All it was is Bivol was the better boxer who used his reach advantage and footwork effectively to neutralize a lot of Canelo's weapons. If you watch that fight, my peoples, body shots, boom, like flush, clean body shots. I don't think Canelo landed 5 of those in the whole fight. 5. Clean one like that, boom, that he landed on Bivol. That wasn't blocked or wasn't stepped away from. Maybe 5 he landed. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, Agent 17. That's what I was saying earlier. Crawford's reach advantage, Canelo's going to have to get past it to land that left hook to the body. He's going to have to get past it to land anything. And then Bud has a longer reach than the guy that outboxed him thoroughly. John Parham, Jay, you agree, but Bud, it's a mule. Canelo going to really have to put paws on him. Look, Canelo Alvarez is a great fighter. That's why I tell people, just because I'm saying Crawford is going to win, doesn't mean that Canelo doesn't have what it takes. Right? Canelo's a great fighter. He's a pound-for-pound fighter. So I believe that he can win the fight. I just see Crawford as the better fighter. And the better fighter usually wins. JJ said that Bivol outboxed Canelo all night. Made it look easy. Made Canelo look like a B-level fighter. So when people bring up, oh, nice, that Bivol was too big for Canelo, tell him to shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. This guy never hurt Canelo once. Never did absolutely anything in that fight that you would say, yo, he's too big for Canelo. Outboxed him. Agent 17, yeah, Bud has trained with Andre Ward and Roy Jones Jr. And be training with Shakur as well. The next greatest fighter coming up. Go get the money. Bud has a full year to get accustomed to the weight. Look, people been talking about it like Terrence Crawford is walking around at 154. And a couple of weeks before the fight, he's going to eat a bunch of pizza and make the weight. Look, my peoples, I want you to think about this. I had somebody tell me that Crawford is so small that he might not be able to make 168. That he might show up come fight night at 164 or 165. Then I sent him a screenshot of Crawford stepping on a scale and weighing 185 and asked him, bro, Terrence Crawford weighing 185. So you're telling me that you think he can't make 168? So while people are thinking that Terrence Crawford is going to move up to 168, he's going to cut down in weight to make 168. That's why I've been trying to convince y'all so it won't surprise you. The difference in power is not going to be as much as people think it is. Yes, Canelo is going to be the stronger fighter. No. The harder puncher differentiate the two, my peoples. Canelo will be the harder puncher, but not the stronger fighter. I guarantee you Canelo cannot lift up a heavier weight than Terrence Crawford. I guarantee you that Canelo, one-on-one, strength is not stronger than Crawford. He's not going to be the stronger guy. Harder puncher, yes. Bigger guy, more leverage behind that. Yeah. But the difference in power is not going to be as much as people think. Terrence Crawford stronger, Canelo hits harder. Yes, Canelo does hit harder. But because Terrence Crawford is stronger than a lot of people think, he's going to be able to eat some shots that when he get hit and he don't go down, a lot of people going to be scared for Canelo. Like, oh, I thought he was going to knock him out with that shot. What now? What now? Jay Petty, come on. Come on now. I ain't got to be psychic. And you know, he ain't fought in that weight class. That he doesn't have to fight in that weight class. Like, I don't know what argument you're trying to make, Jay Petty. Do you realize that there's more people who moved up 2 divisions and won a title? So what is your point? Sugar Ray Leonard moved up 2 divisions, won a title. What is your point? Roberto Duran moved up 2 divisions, won a title. What is your point? Like, you're making a whack-ass point and you think it's a good one. He's not used to it. He's not used to it. Okay. Well, what is your point? That he's not used to it. You're literally making no point. Agent 17. The closer we get to fight night, the more I think Bud's gonna win. I feel confident. I feel comfortable with Terrence Crawford winning that fight simply because he has the physical advantages that can give Canelo problems. And then the boxing skills to go with it. That's how I see it playing out. Jay Petty, at 168 besides Canelo, who do you favor Bud to beat? I tell you, Jay Petty, anybody who is as small as Canelo. There you have it. That's what you don't understand, Jay Petty. Canelo was small, 168 pounder. He little. So anybody, any 168 pounder who you can show me that's the same height as Canelo, Crawford is going to whoop his ass and make it look easy, bro. Go look around. Any little 168 pounder getting smoked and made to look easy by Crawford. Take your time. You got to understand, Jay Petty, I'm the human algorithm for a reason. You thought you were going to get me stuck with that weak question? Come on, bro. Go get the money. His point is that he's a Canelo fan. Yeah, Jay Petty just got to tell us I'm a Canelo fan. Just go ahead, Jay Petty. Just tell us you're a Canelo fan. We good. We love Canelo too. I'm not a Canelo hater. Superman. Yes, sir. The heavy dosage and his deaf healthy cooking. Bro, come on now. This boxing for breakfast is just feeding you the healthy, steady dosage of sweet science. JJ's in the house. I have 250 on Crawford. Ooh, you're going to flip that. And you know what? People betting on Crawford need to make those bets soon. You know why? Because as we get closer and closer to fight night, the odds are going to get closer too. Remember, the more people bet on Crawford, the more the odds are going to get closer. So if you bet on Crawford on fight night, you're not going to make as much money as if you bet on Crawford now. Remember, I told you that. Frontline. Smith, do you watch that mini Pacman fight? I didn't watch the fight. I was looking for it. They didn't. I couldn't find video of the full fight. I just found one highlight video where they showed highlights throughout the fight. It was a good fight, very competitive fight, and Mini Pacman got stopped late. Got caught with a big shot, got dropped, got stopped. It was a good fight. The only thing I didn't like about it, and maybe because that's my Dominican brother, why the Dominican champion, world champion, gotta go to Japan to fight the challenger? I don't understand that. Why did he make the challenger fly to Dominican Republic and fight the world champion over here? So Mini Pacman, that was his first title defense, bro. I feel bad that your first defense, they make you go to Japan and that happens. But it was a very good fight. He fought an opponent that I'm not familiar with because that's a very low weight class. So a lot of people don't know Mini Pacman. His opponent, I never heard of him, but damn, that was a good fight. The highlights, they went to war. They went to war from the first bout. Agent 17, I think Crawford can beat Plant, Jamel Charlo, or even Skull. Even Christian and Billy, I'd say. I mean, I think that he could, but my opinion, he's not going to stay in that division. That's not his division. He's going up there just to beat Canelo and make history. So it's really a dumb question to say, who else could he beat at 165? Can he beat Benavidez at 175 too? That's just dumb questions. It's like the guy showing you that he's great. That's not good enough? You want him to be greater? Come on now. We gotta stop the hate and look for ways to accept the greatness. Frontline, Papi, it's on Matchroom, YouTube channel, on the live. Okay, appreciate it, Frontline. Appreciate it, Frontline. I was looking for the fight. I couldn't find it. I want to... The fight that I found was like 10 minutes long, where they show you a little bit of every round. But I want to watch the whole fight because I know it was real good, real entertaining. I might even do a video calling that fight. I've never called a fight that wasn't live. I might do it for that one. John Parham. Do Bus stay at weight? I don't think he's gonna stay at 168, bro. I think he's gonna fight Canelo Alvarez, and if he chooses to fight again after that, he's either gonna do it at 160 or go back down to 154. I don't see. Maybe do a two, cause it might be tough to jump down 2 divisions right away. So he might maybe one at 160 and then go back down to 154. Agent 17, what's your thoughts on the Emiliano Vargas fight? Did he rock his opponent, or did his opponent give up? Nah, he rocked him. Rocked him badly. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, salute to Emiliano Vargas. Congratulations. Congratulations to Fernando Vargas. You know, the legend, the icon, doing a great job with all his sons. If you watch the replay, that was a picture-perfect pullback counter. And why I say it's picture-perfect is because his opponent, his arm was still extended when he ate that shot. And what that means, if your arm is out here, when you eat a shot, that means that your body couldn't brace itself for that. You wasn't ready. You know when you get hit and you brace yourself, boom! He wasn't ready for that shot. So he went like this, boom, and ate that right. Flush. He landed flush. You saw how he moved his head back like that. The way he went down, I didn't think he was going to get up. I was like, oh my God, he ate all of it. And then, in fact, you saw when he was starting to get up, he kind of rolled off. So nah, bro, he was really, really hurt. Hurt. And something that I want to point out to boxing fans. You could be really hurt and seconds later be smiling normal, good. That doesn't mean that you wasn't hurt or that you wasn't faking it. You get hit with a shot that mess up your whole equilibrium, within a couple of minutes, you good. Maybe you might even be slurring a little bit. But that's it. So I felt like that was just a perfect shot. Caught him, stopped him. 40 seconds into the round, I don't think a guy was going to give up. Tunnel vision. Because the guys in Japan are paying the money. They're paying the money, but damn, you got a world champion. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's why I say sometimes the business of boxing ruins the sport of boxing. Mini Pacman is the world champion. Just earned his title shot. Damn, yo. First title defense, you take him over there to Japan to lose it. That's why the money ruins the sport. Then you see other fighters who they win a title, and what they get a homecoming. Come on, defend your title in your hometown, in front of your cousins, your family, your friends, your school, your the kids who went to school with you and all that. They get all the glory. Whoa, come get these cool fights. But then when you don't have that machine backing you, you win a title, yeah, go to Japan. Go over there now. Like you the challenger. Go to enemy territory to defend your title that you just got. That's crazy. But I'm going to tell you what, my peoples. Mini Pacman is going to be a world champion again. I believe in him. He's a great fighter. He's going to be a world champion again. The ill will. Do you think Crawford should have took a tune-up fight before fighting Canelo? No. No tune-up. A tune-up fight before Canelo didn't make sense. Why? Because no matter what he does, his haters are going to hate on him. If he took a tune-up, they're going to say, look, he's taking a tune-up. Why he taking a tune-up? He was saying he was great. Look how much they hated for him on Madrimov. Oh, Madrimov is nobody. We're talking about a reigning world champion, and he still got hate. What you think he's going to get if he fight a tune-up? Hate. Oh, why he fighting a tune-up? So no tune-up. If you feel like you could go for Canelo and beat him, go for Canelo and beat him. That's what he's doing. That's how he's shooting for greatness, and that makes it an even bigger fight. Because if he does a tune-up at 168, and let's say he knocks the guy out of the water, that's it. Now we got that argument. Oh, look, he knocked him out. He knocked him out. Canelo's in trouble. But no. we never seen Crawford above 154. So it's gonna be David versus Goliath. Or at least that's the narrative that y'all been spreading out. That's not real. The reality is that they almost about the same size, almost about the same weight, and almost about the same strength. But yeah, spreading y'all David and Goliath narrative. And y'all just gonna make that win that much bigger, the ill will. You guys, just like you guys made the Errol Spence win that much bigger because you guys kept saying Errol was gonna knock him out. Errol is so big, Errol is so strong. And then look, he put the beats on Errol. It's the same thing. You guys make Canelo so big and Crawford so little that now when he wins, he's gonna beat the guy once again that you say he couldn't beat. Gonna do it again. Agent 17, Madrimov was definitely a good fight on Buzz resume. Madrimov trains with Bivol and Triple G. Madrimov a top-notch level fighter. Look at this. When he fought Crawford, nobody knew him, right? Crawford didn't have a lot of tape to study on him because of that, because he wasn't famous. He wasn't on TV like that. It went the distance, right? Virgil Ortiz had a full 12 rounds of Madrimov on tape. Now he knows Madrimov is constantly fainting. He knows the little things that he does. He knows. Madrimov still went 12 rounds with Virgil. Virgil couldn't stop him. What does that tell you about him? So, look how funny it is, though. When Virgil beat him, people were saying, yo, Virgil nice. Look, he beat him. He nice. But when Crawford beat him, Madrimov is a bum. And Madrimov was a nobody. So it's not really about Madrimov. It's more about the hate for Crawford and wanting to discredit his opponents. Flip. Good morning, Jay Smith. You know I rock with Tank 100. Been riding with him for a long time. But at this point, I'm fed up. He think that he's bigger than the sport. I mean, look, man. When it comes to Tank Davis skills, I always say it. One of my favorite fighters to watch. One of the most explosive. But I'm tired of Tank not fighting the best. I'm tired of seeing Tank Davis bringing dudes up from the 130 divisions to fight him. That's Lamar Roach. That's Androide Garcia. Tired of seeing Tank going to another division to fight a guy who is not all that. Mario Barrios, he wasn't the guy when Tank Davis fought him at 140. He was a secondary champion. Little Leo, when Tank went down to 130 to take his title. Little Leo never beat a champion in the 130 division. That was a vacant strap that he grabbed. I finally want to see Tank Davis fight a reigning champion in his own division. Fight Shakur. Fight Teofimo. Fight Devin. Fight somebody, bro. That's it. That's all I'm asking for Tank to fight the best. Let's see. He's saying that he's going to 140. There's some good fights that could be made in that division. Let's see. Frontline. Boxing is a business disguised as a sport. I think that's a little bit harsh. It's still a sport. It's a sport because when they step in the ring, they got to practice that sport. But the business of boxing oftentimes affects the sport of boxing in a negative way. Agent, do you think if Crawford beats Canelo, he will be put higher than Mayweather all time? No. No. It's hard to put him. So I'm going to tell you what. Crawford's win over Canelo is going to be bigger than Mayweather's win over Canelo. Why? Number one, right now, Canelo is better than the 23-year-old version who faced Floyd. He's more experienced. He's been in there with more world champions and so on and so forth. So Crawford is fighting the better version of Canelo. And Crawford is fighting the much bigger version of Canelo as he's moving up 2 divisions to face him. That's one. But who has the better overall resume? Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather beat more champions, beat more pound-for-pound fighters, and so on and so forth. So I can't put Terence Crawford above Floyd Mayweather for that one win. I will say, though, That one win solidifies that Crawford is the best fighter of this era. That's one. That's it. That's not up for debate anymore. Right now, you could try to argue that the best fighter of this era is Canelo. You can argue that it's Fury. You can argue that it's Usyk, who's having a great run. But that win over Canelo Alvarez is going to be bigger than every win of this era of boxing. Nobody who's watching boxing for the last 10, 15, 20 years seen a bigger win than Terrence Buck Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez. But you tell me, my peoples, what win in the last 20 years would you say is bigger than Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez if he wins? Salah Farah, I wish Lomachenko took the Tank fight and retired. He would have exposed him. I'm not sure, my brother, because you know Lomachenko had some inactivity towards the end of his career. 37 years old. Is he up to the task? Is he up to that type of training camp? Is he up to fighting somebody who's as strong as Tank Davis? So I don't know, man. If he really wasn't in it, he could have took that fight and also got knocked out brutally by Tank. That could have happened. John Parham, can we get 35 likes? We get to get Jay Smith out there, peoples. Ooh, to get Jay Smith out there, peoples. 35 likes, we just a few away, man. Those who've been ducking the like for the longest, I'm giving you this healthy dosage, man. Come on now. Young Guns, Usyk is the best fighter. You can make that argument. You can absolutely make that argument. Right now, a lot of people have Usyk as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. But with Terrence Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez, he's taking that spot. The Young Guns Bud has yet to be a legit no-brainer Hall of Famer. Look at what you're saying. You're injecting your opinion by using the words legit no-brainer. Legit no-brainer. By using legit no-brainer, you're trying to control the narrative. No matter what you said about who Buck beat or not, Buck has a great resume. That's a great resume. But you can discredit Sean Porter, a world champion. You can discredit Amir Khan, a world champion. You can discredit Kell Brook, a world champion. You can discredit Errol Spence, a world champion. You can discredit Madrimov, a world champion. But no matter how much you discredit his opponents, the history books, they don't write opinions. They write facts. Beat world champions. Beat highly ranked opponents. Terrence Crawford has been fighting champions or highly ranked opponents only for the last 10, 12 years, exclusively. That resume is fire. So he hasn't retired. A legit no-brainer Hall of Famer. Legit and no-brainer, those are the words that you sneak into it to put your own narrative into it, my brother. That's all that is. Trying to get that narrative going. Agent 17, Crawford definitely has the same IQ, if not better, than Mayweather. Maybe not the ring generalship, but his ring IQ is insane. The way he adapts to his opponents is like no other. I would say Floyd Mayweather and Terrence Crawford, the ring IQ and ring generalship was about the same. It's about the same. I would say it's about the same, based on a lot of little things that they do in the ring to make sure that they are where they are and that they get their opponent where they want them to be. I think that they're both on that same level. Young Guns, Oscar wasn't in prime when he fought Floyd. Okay, thank you for that information. Go get the money. Agent 17, they duck each other. John Parham, Agent, who you got into boxing? Who got you into boxing? Salah Farah, if Crawford beats Canelo, he will be a 3-division undisputed champion. Hard to argue with the argument. He's a very top list of pound for pound ever. Listen, Terrence Crawford is going down as one of the most accomplished fighters ever. There's no getting around that. That's why I say, forget about the best of this era. The best of this era is Terrence Crawford. Now we gotta talk about where does Crawford land in the all-time list. all time. So, and you have to understand also, Salah Farah, 3 division undisputed is a great accomplishment. But you have to understand that there's a lot of different accomplishments in boxing. So, for example, he's been undisputed in 3 divisions, but Floyd Mayweather has beaten a lot more champions than him. So, what are you gonna value more? 3 times undisputed or me beating 20 plus champions? It's all going to be about what you value more. Or you being undisputed in 3 divisions and me beating 8, 9, 10 Hall of Famers. So you see, the 3 divisions undisputed, that's a huge accomplishment. But there are some accomplishments that will be seen as bigger. There are some, like I told you, beating 20-something world champions will be seen as bigger. Because let me give you an example. Devin Haney became undisputed champion at 135, and he only had to beat George Kambosos. Remember, he got the email title because Loma didn't fight him, and then he fought Kambosos for the rest of the titles that he had taken from Teofimo. He became undisputed, beating 1 world champion. So that's why I tell you, when you say undisputed, that's a great accomplishment. Don't get it twisted. It's a great accomplishment. But that's a different accomplishment than the guy who beat 20 world champions or the guy who won titles in 8 divisions. So it's all about what accomplishment you want to put more weight on. But I think the most important accomplishments is how many world champions you beat in your career. I think that's the most important one. Because again, you could become undisputed champion and only beat 1 champion, like Devin Haney did it. Superman, 20 plus former champion. Come on. Now, I will say this, though, my peoples, too. This statistic is important to me. And I take it into consideration. How many reigning world champions you beat versus how many former world champions you beat. So I'm looking at that too. When people say, oh, he beat 5 champions. Were all 5 of them reigning champions? Because not the same beating 5 reigning champions than beating 1 reigning champion and 4 guys who used to be champions. That's not the same. You could say they're championship caliber fighters and they had titles. But beating a reigning champion and taking his strap is not the same as beating a guy who used to be a champion and doesn't have a title right now. It doesn't hold the same weight. JJ said that, Jay Smith, you got 35 likes. My peoples. Y'all know what it is, man. I always show appreciation for y'all. Y'all always rocking with me. I'm about to end this show, my peoples. I gotta go to work. Like right now, I gotta get to work. But before I end this show, let me just take a few seconds to say, Agent 17, salute. I appreciate you coming through. I hope you enjoyed the show. My brother John Parham, JJ Zendejas, everybody else who came through, man. Superman, go get the money. Who else showed up? Salah Farah, Young Guns, Jay Petty, Juan Ocasio, and everybody else, man. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of Boxing for Breakfast. We're going to do it again tomorrow. We're going to do what we do. Yo, you see it. Box Center might not be #1 today. Might not even be #1 tomorrow. But I promise you, it's only a matter of time. It's the inevitable. We're going to take over, my peoples. So, you might as well jump in the bandwagon or get out the way. Because we coming. My peoples, y'all already know what it is, man. This is Box Center, your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. This is Boxing for Breakfast, the best boxing show in the morning that you could ever find. My peoples, don't forget to look, these videos, I need you guys to start sharing them. Chat, share these videos. Don't be greedy. Don't be the only ones enjoying this sweet, healthy dosage of sweet science that you guys get every morning. Share it. Let the people enjoy it too, my peoples. Y'all see it, man. I'm Jay Smith. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm getting the hell out of here. I gotta go to work. Bam. Peace.